And then watch if there is a video. You see all this talking that they doing? Watch them go dead silent if there is a video. And it does show Karmelo was innocent, as we all know that he is. And I'm with you, Elite. I do believe that there is a video. The first thing the cops is going to do, they said that they took everybody's cell phone. So I believe that there's definitely a video. It's definitely going to vindicate Karmelo. And there are witnesses out there that is going to further be able to shed more light on who this bully was, and it's also going to vindicate him. Absolutely, he's at a school. Everybody got, and then didn't they say that that the white boy ended up taking and smashing Carmelo's phone? So who knew what evidence Karmelo may have had or collected in his own phone?
Mm-hmm. That's very true. Let's get to the other speakers. I'm gonna get to Don.
Yeah, how you doing, bro?
Don Vito.
Can you hear
I'm
me?
good. Excellent.
All right, first and foremost, thank you for doing what you're doing, bro. I was one of the first influencers that got on top of this. I don't do this much, but I like to speak on what I know about. First and foremost, condolences to all families on both sides, right? It's a very unfortunate situation, and we all know, particularly as parents, that this is not the call we want to receive. You know what I mean? The reason why this is very sentimental to me is because I fought and won in trial a self-defense case. I understand that. Not in Texas, but I understand it. And a lot of people who are speaking on this case, they don't know what the heck they're talking about. Okay, first and foremost, let me go ahead and debunk the first thing. Just because the boy brought a knife, whether it was legal or legal, it has nothing to do with the other. Yes, it sets the premise for courage and things like that. But this case all comes down to one thing. And let me tell you what it is. It's the state of mind he was in when he deserved to use it. That's all. If he was under fear and distress, like current witness have reported, they said there was 30 witnesses over there and 12 was interviewed. They changing the story, like you said. If he was under distress and fear at the time that he pulled that weapon, regardless of how it was or what was legal or it could have been illegal, whatever, that is rights for self-defense. That's even if it wasn't a stand your ground state. Even if this wasn't a stand your ground state and it was just self-defense, he would still win on that. The point of the matter is the young man is innocent into proven. Nobody talking about this. He's innocent into proven guilty in the United States of America. The Constitution give him that right. So why is all these people who don't know this man, don't know nothing, people that don't look like us, coming back and calling them this and calling them that? Let me say this to the platform, man. These people don't, the value of our life is not the same as their life. We just got to accept that. I love all people, but I'm saying I've just been experiencing this and I know this to be true. The value of our life is not equal to the value of their life. They don't care. So now what you see about the brother speaking, it's not this. What it is that they didn't got in touch. They didn't more than likely got in touch with some attorneys, and the attorneys has explained to them the stuff that I'm telling you right now. So let me say another thing. I don't know whether he know him or not know him. I think I seen some pictures, them in previous pictures as if they know him. But I'm gonna tell you this: it's better if he don't know him. I'm just gonna be straightforward with you because if a stranger, right, into your personal space and transgress against you, that is a threat to your life. You understand? And then people are saying this. Let me cover this. People saying, well, equal force, equal force. They don't know what they're talking about. Okay, this is why the family are changing the tunes, and people are they are so rattled about this. He didn't multiple poke this guy. It was just unfortunate of the vital spot he hit him at. If this guy was dangerous, like they portrayed him to be in the beginning with these pew pews that wasn't really pew pews and throwing up signs and all that, why wasn't it multiple pokes? Why wasn't a single poke and run? He was
Let
scared
me
for his
say,
life.
let me add on to that because you just reminded me of something. I'm gonna let you finish, but let me add on to that. When people are like, "Yeah, but that doesn't justify him taking his life," I said earlier in the live, I don't think Karmelo was trying to take his life. When you poke somebody, if you're trying to take their life, you're going to make sure you get the job done. You're going to poke several times until you know for a fact. You're not going to poke one time and run away, which is what everybody said he did.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
continue with that.
And that's what I'm saying. Like I said, I fought one of these. It all comes down to the state of his mind at the time of the incident. And it's not favorable for the young man. Like I said, thoughts and family to Austin, but it's not favorable for them. The point is this: we're moving a little too slow for galvanizing and raising money for this young man. Because the fact of the matter is, he should not be incarcerated right now. I'm telling you that right now. Because if they transgress on this young man, and out of fear he acted the way he are, he doesn't have a previous record. Their witness said that he was attacked first, so why is he sitting in the prison? There's absolutely innocent until proven. There is absolutely no reason for this young man to be sitting in prison. And let me say this: if it was the other way around, I'll be straightforward with you. Color does not has no leverage on what I'm telling you right now. Right is right and wrong is wrong. So I just want to get on and just bless your platform. Thank you for what you're doing. But what we need to do is get in touch with his family. I think it's a young man named Kevin Hayes that got a it's not a GoFundMe. It's a I posted on my page, but they're raising money. We need to raise a lot of money and get this man the best league, this young man the best league. And then people say he admitted he do it. He admitted he did it out of self-defense. And that is favorable to him because as soon as the incident happened, he didn't run, he didn't say he didn't do it. He said he did it out of self-defense.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand why. Again, I do understand, but a lot of people that are not like us, so called, it's just not a lot of bigotry, bro. And we just gotta learn. And that's one thing I gotta say about people of color, black people, man. We gotta learn to unify, man, because the odds against us, and it's not just one ethnicity. All right, if you look closely, right, it's a lot of them that for whatever reason cannot stand black people. They just don't like black people. So you can just let me down out of this, bro. I appreciate your platform. Thoughts and prayers with both family, but I think we should galvanize and see if we can see if we can donate
Yeah.
to this young man and see if we can get him
Well,
back
if
to his
you have
family.
a if you have a like a confirmed source, because what I've been hearing is that there's been multiple different GoFundMe's that they're taking down. Like GoFundMe's are like taking anything that's pro Karmelo is being taken down. So a lot of people don't know where to donate to. And
That's
then,
correct,
of
and that
course, you're
and
going
the
to
thing
have
because
people
so
who
much
are
fraud.
opportunists who are going to come up with fake GoFundMe pages. So we need a verified, concise page where people can go to.
Right, and that's the problem, Afro Elite. I'm not gonna say this is because I haven't personally reached out to the family, but I did know the guy Kevin Hayes had pushed something. And you can look at my page. I think it's from it's not GoFundMe because you're right. They took that down. Last but not least, let me say this to you guys. All right, and I want you guys to listen to me clearly about this. There's something going on internally with this young man in that small little town over there. Because first and foremost, guess what? They never should have charged him with first degree murder.
That's true.
Okay, I'm telling you, this is manslaughter at its best. At its best, two people tuggling and one getting unalive in the
They
mix.
gonna end up dropping it to manslaughter. I can
Well,
guarantee
I'm,
you
I'm gonna
that.
tell you, if they don't, it's better because that's extremely hard to prove in court. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He premeditated. He came out the house and he did all that. At minimum, it's manslaughter. So there, what I really feel this happening is that it was a lot of people that seen this event. It was going all type of ways, and they trying to, like people said on this platform, they trying to change them stories. Because if you have several witnesses saying that he was attacked first, it's going to be really hard for them to convict this young man. So I just want to say that. But
Let
thank you for
me
what
go ahead.
thank you for guys for what you're doing. God bless you guys. And you can put me down, Afro Elite.
Appreciate you, brother.
So
Appreciate
Afro, you
you. Yeah.
you have your contacts who can give you the verifiable GoFundMe. I don't even believe it's on GoFundMe, but I have a name that maybe you can look into because he was sharing something about it today. He's on Twitter, and I think he's very reliable.
The
He
last time I
identifies as a
saw a
free. One
GoFundMe,
minute. 1 minute.
Yeah. Come on now.
He identifies as as a freedman, so he was sharing it today. He was involved with securing the platforms for the donations.
And I
Okay.
also just piggyback real quick. I
Do
just think, oh, I'm sorry,
one
BX. Go
minute.
ahead,
Do you
baby.
want me to put it in your inbox,
Yeah.
or you want me
Yeah.
to say the
Just
name?
yeah. Well, you can say the name and then send it to me so I don't forget.
Arthur Watkins from Twitter.
Oh yeah, I know him. I know him. Yep.
Friedman. Okay, yeah. So I'll put it in your inbox on Twitter, and the next time you go over there, you can just.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Make
shout
you.
out to brother Arthur.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay. All
I
right.
just
Thank
wanted to
you.
say I find it hilarious that they would go and try to block his GoFundMe when they did, but when they did that insurrection, right? When they went and stormed the Capitol, they was allowing people to send go to create GoFundMe's for those people who did that. So I just find that to be quite odd that they would do that to him because even though they raised that his bond to 1 million, I feel like they did it because they know Kendrick would have been out, I'm sorry, Carmelo would have been out yesterday because we know our people. Again, we know when our kids are telling the truth. This is just baffling to me because this young man made good grades in school. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he was raised right, his head on straight. Can't really speak much for the other one. So I just think that that's very convenient that they would allow these radicals, those thugs, the real thugs, and even Kyle Rittenhouse, they set up GoFundMe's for him. And he massacred a few people. And they was allowed to go and create GoFundMe's and send all of this support. But this young man here, he can't get not nothing. We gotta go through all of these different channels, different avenues for him to get the assistance and the help that he needs. And they raised that bond the way that they did because they like, okay, well, they ain't gonna come up with the money when really we would come up with the money. I just hope that Carmelo knows that he has a lot of support. I hope the family knows. And yes, whoever y'all find out who what is legit as far as being able to send him money, please let me know.
Yeah. I'm a if y'all follow me, I'm gonna put it on my story later on. You said it's Arthur. I keep forgetting his last name. Arthur
Watkins.
Watkins.
I'm
Arthur
putting it in
Watkins.
your inbox on Twitter now. Yeah.
Yep.
Just so I don't
Okay.
forget.
Now with that, let's continue the conversation. So David, you got it.
All right, so first of all, let me say, Don Vito, man, everything you were saying was absolutely correct. I agree with everything you said. Thank you for your wisdom. Uh, Let me speak to white people, that anybody that's listening right now, there's something
Can
that
you
you need to
can you speak
understand.
up like a little more? You kind of sound like you on like headphones or something.
Uh, which, all right, I switched to my phone. Is that better?
Yeah, yeah, much better.
All right, so there's a documentary that you guys got to see. It's called, now I don't know if I'm allowed to say the title of it. I'm not actually using the word, but it's called One Killer Punch. And it's in this documentary, it shows how someone could be hit one time. They could lose their balance. They could get hurt so bad in the head that they go brain dead. Let me tell you something. Carmelo's life was in danger the very second he was assaulted. He had absolutely every single right to defend himself with lethal force. Now that is something that all white people, we all hold that sacred to ourselves, that the second somebody touches us, we have the ability to defend ourselves with lethal force, and that's something that we hold sacred. And I think that that is something that should absolutely be applied to Carmelo. I believe he is innocent. I believe it's a disgrace that he's being held on $1 million bond. Where is he going to go? He's the most famous person. Where is he going to go and hide to? He is not a flight risk. Like, he can't go nowhere. Everybody knows his face now. He needs to take this case to trial. Do not take a plea. Stand in front of the jury and say you are innocent. Please do not take a plea. I'm praying for his family, and I'm praying that he gets the right guidance on this, because let me tell you what, I wanted Tiff to stay in the room earlier because I wanted to ask her if she took her case to trial or if she pleaded out in hopes of getting a lesser sentence, because it sounds like she did not take her case to trial. But absolutely, Carmelo, I hope he takes this case to trial, because I believe that if this stands in front of a jury, then a jury of his peers, I believe in him. I believe in America still. Even with everything that's going on, I still believe that there are enough good people out there, whether you're white, whether you're black, doesn't matter. I think that if he stands in front of a jury, they will see he absolutely had to defend himself. You could be struck and lose your balance. You fall, you hit your head. and that's it. Like that's the thing you got to understand, especially white people. Like stop saying, "Oh, it was imbalanced. He had a weapon and the other guy didn't." That does not matter. The second someone starts to assault you, you don't know how far they're going to go. You don't know what they're going to do next. The second you break that boundary and you cross that line, you better be ready to reap the consequences. And that is the case that we are dealing with now. God bless Karmelo. I hope that he is declared innocent. And we're praying for him. There's a lot of white people also that are praying for him. And I just hope that y'all know that this, not all white people are saying this guy needs to go to jail and that he's guilty. He's good. Nah. Okay. He was being bullied. He got gripped up on. And you don't, in that situation, in that moment, you do not know how far it's going to go. You absolutely have the right to defend yourself.
Let me just add on to that point. We also have to factor in the fact that Austin was not alone. Karmelo was alone.
He was completely
Did not
outnumbered.
have anybody with him. Austin had his twin brother, and his twin brother said there were other friends there. Karmelo was with Austin was with a whole group of people as he's putting his hands on somebody who's smaller than him, and the person is by himself.
And thank God that he ran away because he retreated. He retreated from the scene. He was not looking to stay and do damage. He poked what he needed to poke, and he retreated. I think that all the people that are saying, but he ran away. Yeah, he did the right thing. He was taking himself out of the situation. He didn't start swinging around that poker violently to everybody around him. He wasn't a madman. He did what he had to do, and he got out of that situation. And I believe he's innocent. And I hope that's more people like me are on that jury. That's all I can say.
I hope so.
Ooh, thank you, David, because we need more white tea people who think and talk like you with reason. We not always trying to say that, I mean, right? If Carmelo was wrong, we would say that he was wrong. I think
I
we're
believe
all
that.
adults enough
I
to
believe that. I believe that there's so many good people in this world that we only really hear the hateful people. The hateful people are the loudest, and it's sad because those are the people that get everybody all fired up and arguing in rooms and chatting and everything. But you know what? I think that there's a lot of people feel for Karmelo and they stand with him and they're praying for him.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, David. I
Yep.
want to get to
Go ahead. You can take me off.
Okay. Denzel, you can go.
Yeah, pretty much everybody kind of said what I said. It's more so, I don't want it to be too much of an echo chamber, but essentially what I'm just going to say is that this is a huge case of FAFO. I think that, this is a tragedy on both sides. I hate the fact that, somebody is, going to be buried or whatever is going to happen to them. I hate that fact. I also hate the fact that now Carmelo's life is going to be changed.
You got to mute. Keep going, Denzel.
I hate that it's going to be changed, but I just think that, the one thing that is irritating me, because, when I came up, there was a couple of people, I think her name was Cupcake, and then even the woman who said she was poking people and went to jail. Like, the one thing that I absolutely don't like is that it is just this immediate response to have to take up for people, no matter what, if they're right or wrong. I don't think anybody is up here. I don't think anybody in general is sitting there saying that they're happy that man was poked. I don't think any of us feel that way. But I just think that I'm just tired of everybody looking at the reaction instead of what caused that reaction. At the end of the day, what Austin should have done is that if he felt like, if he, for whatever reason, if he felt like that man was in his space or whatever, he should have went to go grab somebody. Or better yet, just left him alone. And he put himself in that position to where he's not here no more. So that's not Carmelo's fault. That's his fault. So, and I also feel like for his twin brother, and I'm just going to be honest, his brother seems like a liar. Because of what you said, if what you not seen, he is a liar. If what you said, and I think you said, host, earlier, either he was lying when he first gave that first interview, or he sat back, got people feeding in his ear, and he realizes, oh shoot, I said too much, so now I got to kind of retroactively change it to make my brother look like a saint when we all know that he wasn't. It's just I'm just tired of it. Like, I'm really tired of this constant narrative to always make black people feel like we're inherently violent and we're always just doing things like that. It's weird. So bottom line is that, and I'm gonna wrap it up, is that for everybody listening, people who agree with me or disagree with me, I truly don't care. Make sure when you talking to your children, your cousins, whoever you got that's younger, you gotta literally let them know to keep their hands to themselves and to honestly think, is this confrontation worth the rest of my life? And that's on both ends. But that's all I wanted to say. But thank you for bringing me up, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you, brother. Thank you. That's very true.
Can y'all please
How
tap
do
the
you
screen,
can I
please?
if can I check
Thank
my
you.
messages without like ending the live? I don't know how to do that. How do you do? Can you do that? I don't
Yes.
know.
Are you doing text message?
No,
In
somebody
text
in the
message?
chat room is saying check my messages, so I don't know how to.
On
How
what
you,
site? Maybe not on TikTok unless you have another device, but you can come
Yeah,
out
it's
of
gonna
the
drop
app.
you if you go. It'll
okay, well,
it'll
no, I'll do it later then. I'm not tripping. It's just somebody was saying that.
No problem.
Okay. I'm putting more people in
Oh,
there.
wait, but if you're on Twitter, like say they sent a message on Twitter, you can leave the live. Just if you have an iPhone, you know how to close the app without hitting the X at the top,
Uh,
Afro, or you don't know. Okay, so you could do that. We'll stay up and you could head to Twitter and check that message box. But as far
mm,
as TikTok, you can't check it
mm,
on the same device. Yeah.
okay. Yep. Let's get to. Let me see who is next now. Legally gangster, legal gangster. You got it.
Afro, thank you for having me. Let me say this first. I'm not an attorney, but I am a former Texas peace officer, now turned advocate. So I need you all to hear me when I say what I'm about to say. The justice system banks on us not knowing our laws. Okay? So, in saying that, before we get to even everything that you all are talking about, it's going to be very hard for Karmelo to stand on the standing his ground or the self defense. We have a law here in Texas that if you commit a crime while in a commission, or if someone dies in a commission of committing a crime, that's murder. The first thing that Carmelo did that was out of order, that was an offense, was taking that weapon,
You
taking the
have to use
weapon into the
TikTok,
game.
ma'am.
Yeah, you
That
got it.
One minute,
that's so
ma'am.
listen.
Man,
I'm
I'm trying not to mute her. But ma'am, I'm gonna need you, and I'm gonna need everybody else who hears my voice. TikTok friendly language, please. We're trying to protect the lives. So no M word. You got to say unalive, deletion, termination, or terminate. Okay, just so we could protect the live and keep the conversation going.
Okay.
Have to talk as if you're talking to a 5-year-old.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I got you. I'm sorry. I
It's a
apologize.
no
Um,
problem. Thank you for
but
understanding.
okay, but that's what's before we get to even the discussion that we're having right now. The discussion is carrying the weapon into a game. It's unlawful carry into a weapon-free zone, which is a third-degree felony here in Texas. So even before this other charge that we're discussing, that's going to be a charge as well. Right now, we are hearing about the larger charge because that's what the DA tends to want to always take, the one that may stick the most. So, what we need to do is pray for Carmelo. We need to pray for the whole situation, but the worst part of it is he already committed a crime. Had I been standing at the gate when he entered into the stadium and I pat him down and I found the weapon, I would have arrested him, and that's just the truth. So he would have already had a third degree felony that he was facing just by carrying a weapon, namely the knife, into a weapon free zone. Anywhere in Texas, is if it's a school, or even if it's a school sanctioned event, you cannot carry a weapon in. So when he tried to do or when his attorney tried to do the self defense or the stand your ground or the, well, it's not counsel doctrine, but any of that, it's not going to stick. He may come off with the M slaughter. He may come, it may be brought down to that, but he's going to face some time. And not only is he going to face physical time, he's going to face he's already imprisoned in his mind. Because if you take someone's life, that's a whole different kind of prison.
Okay.
So his
Okay.
mind need to
Let
be
me
prayed
ask
for.
you. Now, let me ask you your position. You said what were you in Texas? What was you were like officer or what were
Yeah,
you?
I'm a former Texas peace officer, ex-cop.
Okay.
I'm an ex-cop.
It's
Now,
glitch. One
you
moment. It's
said
glitching for me. Is it glitching for you, Afro?
no, it's not.
The live?
No.
One moment. No? Okay.
Okay.
Anyone
So
else?
you said that
No? Okay.
Carmelo was committing a crime.
Correct.
Okay. So now I've heard different variations that depending on the size of the blade, he was it's not illegal.
First of all, it's okay. The blade length is 5.5 inches. Now you
Okay.
have to think about it for it to reach this young man's heart. How far did it go? See, they're gonna do all of this. They're gonna
But
watch the puncture wound.
but I'm at hold on, but the thing before we get into that, so let's establish the fact that certain blades are not crimes.
It also could be seen as a prohibited weapon if it does not if it doesn't. Well, hold on, let me tell you, if you don't mind, if it does not reach that, he's still going to face time, because even a prohibited weapon does not. In the beginning of the school year, every school year, we all know it, the school sends home documents that everyone must sign, every parent must sign for their kids. He was in Every student is informed that there are prohibited weapons that must not be brought into a
Okay.
school, a school activity, all of that. At this point right now, of course, there's a whole lot of speculation. But before we get to the who
But
was
hold
bullying
up.
who,
Before we get into that, because let's say we don't know. I have not seen any confirmed information about the actual blade size. I have not seen that. Okay, so we don't know if it was legal or not legal. But let's say, for the sake of the argument, that he's not supposed to have it on school property, on school grounds. Let's say, for the sake of the argument, he's not. The size don't matter, and he's not supposed to have it whatsoever on school grounds. Let's say that, and let's say he was violating that. If that is a violation of school policy, all right. However, he was not actively using this
he didn't
blade.
have to be. He did not have
Hold
to
on,
be.
man. He was not actively using the blade until he was assaulted.
He did not have to be. Again, had I patted him down, if I was the officer, if I was security at that gate, and I patted him down, that would have automatically been a charge before he even got
Okay,
to Black House.
okay. Let's say that. Let's say he would have done that. But you said earlier, let's say you said earlier, the fact that he wasn't supposed to have it
Correct.
completely makes the situation not a self-defense situation.
It will, by Texas law, it will take the self-defense plea away.
Okay,
It's
now
going.
let me ask you, let me put this scenario out. Okay, let's put this scenario out. If somebody comes at me with like a baseball bat, and I use a pow pow, but it's not
Mhm.
legal. The pow pow was not legal. Does that take my self defense right away because the weapon I used wasn't legal?
We have to take in the totality of the circumstances. Where are you? How old
No,
are you?
no,
What
no. I'm
situation?
talking. Hold on, man. I'm just talking about the principle, because what you're saying is that because of the fact that he was not supposed to have it, completely scratches away self defense. Because we're not arguing if he was assaulted. We're arguing. You said it doesn't matter if he was assaulted or not because he wasn't supposed to have that weapon. So I'm saying
Correct.
I'm saying in a situation where you are being assaulted and you fear for your self safety, if you use a weapon you're not supposed to have, that scratches self defense in every situation, because it would have to be in every situation, right?
Again, because what you're doing, you're giving scenarios. But hold on, please, Afro, you're giving scenarios. but the law states. That's what you have to look into. The scenarios we can do all day and all night, but it's going to come down to those things that make it a violation of the law. If I'm in the front of my house and someone try and hit me with a baseball bat, and I take the nine off my hip and I send some rounds at them, I'm standing my ground. That's self-defense. But again, it's my location. It's all the circumstances. You cannot
Okay,
just
I'm bringing because I want to get to the point where you're saying, because I'm not even arguing about the knife. My whole argument, the prompt is about self-defense. You're
it,
saying because I'm saying, ma'am, you're saying because he was not supposed to have the knife makes the case not a self-defense situation.
correct.
Completely legally
Cor-
scratches it from being a self-defense. So
Correct.
I'm saying if a person uses their now if a person uses a weapon that they're not supposed to have, does that make it not self-defense? They can't defend themselves unless they legally are able to have that weapon,
That's correct.
ma'am. Okay, that so you're saying in the
But listen what
situation.
you're saying, using a weapon they don't supposed to have. You're not saying a weapon that they're legally able to have. You asked me if they don't supposed to have it. So if they don't supposed to have it, that already makes it illegal. So
Okay,
again, if they try to
if
defend it,
if you're not supposed to have it though, if you're not supposed to have it, now you can be charged with possession of a weapon you're not supposed to have.
correct.
However, the situation that occurred after that, it would be a separate situation. It would still be self-defense, even if you do time.
No, not in
Even no,
Texas.
ma'am, even if you do time for having even if you do have time or do time or whatever the case is for having a weapon you weren't supposed to have, that the situation of the altercation is still a self-defense situation because one person is the aggressor and another person is not the aggressor. One person is aggressing the other person and another person is defending themselves from an oncoming attack.
And still,
So
and
I'm
and
saying
still,
if you have an attacker and a person who's defending themselves, whether the person who's defending themselves has a weapon that is legal or a not legal, the person is still in a defense situation, defending themselves against an aggressor. That situation does not change depending on if the person has a legal weapon. Because what if the person had weed on him? Or I'm sorry, I can't say that. What if the person had another item on him he wasn't legally supposed to have?
that's correct. Let me
So,
say this to you. Okay, what you're saying, because I need you to understand this.
mhm.
So now the person, even if someone aggressed them, I'm a black woman. I have a brother who was taken away from here unalived. So I would, of course, if I saw when it happened and I wasn't supposed to have something, or if I wasn't supposed to carry a weapon, of course, that's my brother. I'm going to defend. I'm going to try to take them out like I just saw them take them out. But that's again us as black people on our emotions. The law don't give a care about our emotions. The
Okay.
law is now say this, like you just said. Somebody try to hit someone with a baseball bat. That's the aggressor. Then you have a person who don't supposed to have a weapon, and then they attempt to defend themselves. The first charge they're going to get is unlawful carry of that weapon. And then if they do unalive that person, the second charge is going to be unaliving or
Okay,
manslaughter.
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Let's clear this up. We're gonna find a lot with this answer. What charge should Carmelo get? What should he be charged with?
Again, I'm not an attorney, but I will
Yeah.
say this: I know without a shadow of a doubt, he will get the unlawful. He will definitely get the unlawful carry.
Okay,
If the
we can
if the
agree on that.
unaliving if the unaliving don't if the unaliving don't stick, then his attorney is most likely going to try and get manslaughter.
The unalive. So do you think it's justified for him getting first degree?
Let me tell you why it's justified.
Okay.
I can't. Again, the law is not about what I think. So
No,
see,
I'm
you
no,
you
because
you
you're
looking
telling
for an
us the
answer
law.
from
So
me? I
you
can give you the sister
okay?
answer
It's
all
just
day.
let's him getting him getting first degree is justified. How is it justified?
Because again, he unalived someone in a commission of a crime. His first crime is carrying a weapon. That's the first crime. Everyone want to skate over the weapon. I think he was not supposed to have the weapon in the stadium. Period. So now he has a he is they it's the one that they really didn't push it toward capital because he unalived it because again he unalived someone in the commission of a crime.
Okay.
The offense
Let me
that we're
ask you.
looking at,
Okay.
the offense the offense that they're discussing, the one that they keep discussing, is it in itself enough. But then when you enhance it, because and we do have enhancements in Texas,
Hmm.
because in the commission of an offense, namely a felony, he unalived someone. So then
Okay.
as a charge on top of a charge.
Okay. Here's the thing. First degree means it was premeditated. That is what it means. It is premeditated. All right.
Again, once
Let
again,
me ask you a question. Let me ask you this. Him having something on his person that he was not supposed to have on the premises does not make the altercation a premeditated altercation. Agree or disagree?
it makes it enhanced.
Okay.
Afro, you're trying to get something that's not.
No, I'm
Again,
trying
it
to
automatically
separate. No, ma'am, I'm trying to separate the things. I'm not even making the argument that he should have had the knife on him. I'm not making that argument. You said that. I said, you know what? We can agree that let's say he does possession of a weapon he wasn't supposed to have. Let's say that. But you're saying that that now makes it first degree. That's where I'm saying that it doesn't make it first degree. It
the
doesn't make it
enhanced.
first degree because then you would have to prove that he had the intent on using this for any circumstance besides defending himself, and he didn't use it, he didn't show anybody he had it, he didn't take it out until he was assaulted by another person.
Not true. Let me tell you why.
Okay, let me give you another situation.
Can I say this if you don't mind? Let me tell you
Hold
how
on,
much.
somebody is okay.
Let me
um
tell you how enhancements are in Texas. If a kid, no, I'm not going to say kid. If a 17-year-old run into the corner store, steal a Snicker, run out, okay, running at high speed. As he's running out, he run into a pregnant woman, knock her down. She bumps her head, and she's unalived. That becomes, now you have two people, but it's enhanced because he was committing a crime, and then while he was committing the crime, he committed another crime because he knocked her down and he
it
unalived.
may be enhanced. That would not make it a first degree. It would make it first degree, ma'am.
Yes, it does. I don't
No, it
understand.
would.
What are
A
you mad if you're in
prosecutor,
Texas?
ma'am, a prosecutor would not be able to convince a jury that this person premeditated to knock a pregnant woman
It
down and
does
take her life.
not have
He
to be
would not be.
premeditated.
He would not be able to make that conviction unless that person took a plea. He's not going to be able to convince a jury that this person premeditated, that this was a premeditated, pre-planned, intentional action to take her life. He's not going to be able to convince a jury of that.
Afro, once it's enhanced, it takes that element away.
Can I
I
ask you?
understand.
Let
I
me ask
understand
you
what you're
another.
saying.
Can I ask you a question? Kyle Rittenhouse had a weapon on
I don't
him.
know anything about. All I know is about
Okay, yeah.
Texas.
Now
And
you
I'm
don't know.
just being
Okay, no,
honest. I'm
no,
not gonna.
no, no.
I'm not
Okay,
gonna
let me
try to
ask.
speculate. So
No, it's not speculation. Kyle Rittenhouse, he admitted that he had a weapon on him. He was not legally able to carry. His weapon he was not legally able to carry. He used it. He traveled across the state. He went to a situation. He antagonized and started an incident with people, and then he used this weapon in quote unquote self-defense. And he got off with self-defense because he argued he feared for his safety, even though he had a weapon on him that he was legally unable to have. Is this the same situation? But
that's not Texas law. All I can do is tell you again what Texas law says. So I cannot speculate because I don't want to interject whatever happened over there
okay,
into over here.
let's take the
The
law. Let's take
situation
the
with
law. Hold
Carmelo
on, ma'am.
happened in
Let's take the law
Texas.
because this has become a back and forth conversation. I want other people to go ahead and speak. Let's take the law out of it, right?
But you
Do your
can't.
thing.
You
Ma'am,
cannot. That's
be
the
quiet.
thing.
Stop, 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 stop.
No, no, I will
Stop.
remove myself.
Ma'am,
People
no,
learn
ma'am.
the law. I will remove
No,
myself.
no. Here's the thing. If you don't be quiet. Now, look, she ran. Look, she ran. I didn't kick her out. She ran. Because here's the thing, she has a bias against Karmelo. She had a bias against Karmelo. That's why she's making up the law to make it seem like, oh, well, Karmelo, according to the law. And I'm like, ma'am, we have seen several cases where that doesn't play out. Even if Karmelo does do any time, probation, or anything for carrying, which is arguable, if he will do any of that for carrying a weapon he wasn't supposed to, you cannot then put an enhancement of first degree on that, because you can't say he was committing a crime because he wasn't using the knife prior to being assaulted. You can't say he was in a current action. He was currently committing a crime because he was not using the knife and the knife was not out prior to him being assaulted. And then the second I asked, okay, well, let's take the law out of it, she wants to run away because she's trying to hide behind, I'm a police or something like that, which we don't know if that's true or not. She's trying to hide behind that because she's trying to push a narrative that Karmelo should be charged. When I said first, I'm like, you think first degree, he lucky he not getting capital. Ma'am, are you serious? Are you insane? He's lucky he's not getting capital even though he was assaulted. Lord have mercy. Okay.
Um, Afro, let
Yes.
me say this to the chat. So, 1985, the lady who you just made mod here, somebody
Mhm.
reported her. Now she can't go live for a few days. Like,
Oh, I was
I
wondering
didn't
about
even
that.
hear her say. You was wondering why she dropped too, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I'm like, that really reported the mod. She didn't say anything out the way, you know. At least I didn't hear anything out the way. So I'm not going to tolerate a lot of the unfriendliness that we've been tolerating in this chat. So I'm about y'all out of here too. So be mindful with your comment in the chat. We're going to hold you to the same standard. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Afro.
Yeah. Let's continue the conversation. We'll get to I don't know how to pronounce your name. At the bottom right, your name is Karima.
Salami Keegan.
All right. What do you have to say about the situation?
Well, my opinion doesn't really matter. It's just something simple. Uh, for starters, Austin did something wrong, and we should all admit that, right?
Mm-hmm.
He put his hand on someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's out of the way. You know what's worse than putting your hands on someone? Like boy
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Sta- well, can I say it?
You better use TikTok friendly language.
Penetrating someone's chest is
Okay.
worse than putting your hands on someone. It's
That's
it's
your
kind
is
of
that
that
your
simple.
opinion? Is that your opinion?
Well, I mean, I read he ran off, which is kind of bad. Uh,
What was he supposed to do?
what he's supposed to do? Not stab someone? Oh, sorry, my bad. Kind of came off. I
Okay.
personally, I've been bullied, to be honest, when I was a little kid, and I fought them off. My dad told me if someone reached their hand on you, break them, and I did so. Good thing they were bigger than me, and I was
Okay.
scared really. The other problem is the bigger problem is what's up with the school itself? Why wasn't there an adult to separate them or to see the fight? Where was the coach? Why was Carmelo in the wrong tent? Was it because of the rain? Why did he even bring a knife? Uh, Austin didn't have a history of bullying. If he had, it wasn't published. Or he doesn't. So why some people making it racer thing?
I'm gonna have to let you go because you just sound kind of like you don't know English that well. Sorry, I'm just I don't know if you're nervous or something like that. Can everybody speak? Come on, like let's. I don't mind foreigners, but let's. You got to know. Don't do that. To talk about some wow. Don't do that. He was barely speaking. I don't know if he like hiding or something like that. Come on now, shit.
And then he's whispering, you could barely hear him, so he
You said
wasn't
you want.
audible. How
I
about
could barely
is
hear him.
that
It
a good
sounded
way
like he
to
was
say
under
it?
his bed. I don't know if he was supposed to be on the
Right,
floor.
hiding.
I don't know what. Come on now.
He
He was barely speaking English
wasn't
and didn't
audible,
know. Come
y'all.
on. We get more people.
He
Shit.
wasn't. Afro Elite, I'm not sure if you know Terry or remember her straight. Wait, I'm gonna get the right name. Oh my God. Straight, no chaser. There we
Uh huh.
go. Straight, no chaser, Queen T. So if you see her request up, can you please pull her up? She used to be one of Boyce Watkins' Fly Nubian Queens, and she's now doing her own thing. So
Okay.
I respect the sister. So I would love to hear her thoughts about the matter if
Yeah,
she
yeah.
chooses
If you
to
let
come
me,
up. Thank
if
you.
she's up, I'm gonna let
Let
her
me
come
see.
up. But let's get to
Okay.
let's see TTTV.
Here she goes. Okay, she's up.
TTTV, you got it. Going once.
Is it me? I'm sorry. I'll hit.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Well, no, we'll get to
Hello?
TTTV and then we'll get to straight no chaser. Yeah. Go ahead, T. Go ahead, TV.
Okay. First I wanted to say I appreciate the fact that the way y'all running y'all live is respectful. You know what I mean? I came across some people who were like kind of rude and I'm like, I just want to state my opinion. So I appreciate that. My stance on it is don't start none, won't be none. Okay, you have no right to come and try to forcibly remove me from anywhere. You know, the moment you put your hands on me is the moment that you, number one, invade my personal space. Number two, now you're insulting me, and a lot of people don't talk about the fact that it was more than one person, and
Yeah.
these people were what 220 pounds, you know, linebackers. Like that changes the situation because there was somebody who made a good point. It's like you can say yes, he shouldn't have did what he did, but you don't know what he was thinking at that point. I think he was in fear for his life, like not knowing what they were going to do, how far they were going to take things. You know, and from
Hmm.
what I hear, Texas being a stand your ground state, that a lot of people are arming themselves and making sure that they, just in case, they have a way to defend themselves too.
Hmm.
My other point is that in the interview, the mom said something is like, you know, Austin is always like that type that's going to stand up and say something. I call that not minding your business, honestly. Now, rest in peace to him. I call that not minding your business because that's where the whole phrase Karen and all that stuff came from. It's like I'm ordering a pizza and you're like, why are you putting sauce on your pizza? You know what I'm saying? It's like, don't worry about what I'm doing. And if it is that much of a problem because they were belongings in the tent that they were worried about, the coach, the faculty is there for a reason. Go and get somebody. Don't try to take the matter into your own hands. So I do believe that Austin, he was the aggressor, him and his brother. And I do believe that Carmelo Anthony was protecting himself. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. A lot of people need to mind their business and they need to, and who, because I've never seen somebody like come up to me and be like, yo, you're not supposed to be standing here and willing to fight me over where I'm at a school function. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure it happens, but it's way out of line. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of people, and then the way they painted him in the media. Oh, somebody even used the word rap sheet, and he doesn't even have a record. He's a impeccable student, just like allegedly Austin was. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, why are y'all trying to like make him like this criminal? And then there's also something called the heat of the, what is it? The heat of the passion crime. You know, something going on, you know, in a
Moment or something
moment.
like that. I think it's called.
Yeah, yeah. And So that could have been exactly what it was. It's like I cannot believe you just put your hands on me, and he lost his mind temporarily. So yeah, at the end of the day, I do believe that is self defense, and I hope that he has the right lawyers that's not going to allow him to plead. Because what I noticed, even with my own son, like having a lawyer versus not having a good lawyer, and the public defenders, they'll be like, yo, take the plea, because if not, you could do this amount of time. And the reality is those people are working for the court system, so they're going to have you plea so you can have a record, and that just starts you being in the system and being unable to break free, and making it more easy for you to be in trouble and also incarcerated. So I think he shouldn't. I think he should take it to trial, and I think he should stand on self-defense, because to me that's exactly what it was.
Hmm. I agree. I agree. He should, and we got to make sure. This is why we got to make sure we send the money where we need to make sure we can fund and make sure he gets a good look. Because we've made, I've seen different lives and all that stuff on TikTok, and in this last couple hours we've been on live, we've made several very substantial, strong legal cases for Karmelo based off of the information that we know now. And I can guarantee you there's going to be a lot more stuff coming out
Right,
that's going to
right.
make Carmelo look, because the last few days I've been looking it up. Every single tad bit of information has made Carmelo look better and better. Every
Yes.
single day you get more information, and he's not getting proven. He's being proved to be in the right. Okay,
Right. They were
every
saying
single
that
day. So by the time it reaches trial, we not the whole narrative might be completely switched by
right.
that
And did
time.
you think about this point? Where's the video? Why hasn't any footage been released yet? They pick and choose what they immediately put in the media, and from what I'm hearing, it's going to be held until trial or whatever. But why is it there no video? Because I believe that it doesn't go in the favor of Austin, and that it frees Carmelo Anthony from being in the wrong. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's and then I just didn't even like the way the media covered it. They made it seem like this deranged, guy just got up and started, attacking people, and I didn't like it from the beginning, because I also heard that those twins were known bullies, that there was a previous altercation that he had with them, and there was a need for him to feel like he needed to. Now this is all alleged, but this is the things that are still unfolding, and I'm willing to bet money that he's going to be innocent in the end.
Yeah, we're gonna
But
find out. And if he gets a good lawyer, I'm gonna be honest. If he gets a good lawyer, he would probably be. I'm confident that Carmelo would walk with probably probation for having. Let's say he get probation for having a knife or whatever the case is. Let's say that, or time served. He does a little slap on the wrist for having a knife. Everybody wants to act like the knife a big deal. Okay, woo up the bam. Let's say that. But besides that, as far as the altercation, he should be able to walk.
I agree with that. You can say that the weapon shouldn't have been there. I get it, all of that, but let's talk about it. Like, honestly, we don't want to have to bring the R card into it. Black versus white. We don't want to have to bring that, but black people, I feel like we are psychologically like a little bit damaged, in the sense that we always have to be on guard. We always have to wonder what is your intent and how far are you willing to go, and that also plays a part in why I feel like it would make somebody more likely to do something that they would, like, if it was just us on us, that we might be less, that we wouldn't be as willing to do something like that. But there is a fear there. There is a fear there, because there's so much that has happened just because of the color of our skin, that yeah, that plays a part in it. And they
Hmm.
need to start considering, although I don't think this should be, this versus that race. I don't think that should be it, but race does play a part in why things like this happen, especially when you're antagonizing me and you're insulting me. I'm automatically going to assume that, oh, okay, you're one of those Kevins or Karens or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
May I cut in? So I see we have like 9 people in the box, and I think between me and you, we have like 1 good hour left before we just, have to
Yeah.
do after a few hours online. So if not to rush her, but if she could land, and then we could let straight. No chaser
Yeah,
go.
yeah, we're gonna get
Yeah,
you.
sure.
Keep it
I
rolling.
just want to thank you guys, for giving me the time to voice my opinion. I appreciate it. And y'all take care.
Thank you,
You
E. Thank you.
too. Thank you, TTTV.
All right,
You're welcome.
straight, straight no chaser. You got it.
Okay, Grand Rising. I just wanted to agree with TTTV was saying because I heard the same things. When it first came out, the way it portrayed the Carmelo as this thug, this gangster, and they were like, "Oh, he killed this innocent white boy," and actually, it is about race because we find ourselves as Black people in so many predicaments where we're always the victim and we're always being bullied or Karen by, not, YT people. And in this situation, they're acting like, okay, he carried a knife. He didn't have a gun. You're in Texas. He's a Black boy. How do we know he doesn't hunt? How big was the knife? So when I first heard it and I seen it, I was like commenting, like, wait a minute, how we know this is not self-defense? Because when you heard, like TTYTV said, you heard the mom saying that the brother who was not even on the track team or athlete, he was there. So why was he under the tent telling someone else not to sit there? And then if you hear the brother explaining what happened, they're saying that Carmelo said, "Don't put your hands on me." Now, come on, we're all melanated people. Why would we say don't put your hands on me if you're not threatening us or if you're not trying to touch us? I think it was more of a confrontation, and just like TTY TV said, where's the camera? Where's the footage? They put out what they want to put out, and every time there's a when white people lose in the end, all of a sudden the Black person is always the aggressor and they're always the victim. His family has raised over $300,000.
Damn.
And then I seen Charleston White say, "Oh well, why are we raising money for Carmelo? Maybe because he needs legal defense." I mean, we keep ignoring what has happened in the past. Look at Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse went to a march, had nothing to do with him, carrying a weapon, was underage, and unalived other people. And he was represented as the hero. Look at Trayvon Martin. He was unalive just for walking. So we know what's going on here. His family got up and made it look like their son is innocent. You have two white twins who have posed with guns, and they're talking about this melanated young man who has a 4.0, no history of violence, no record or anything compared to them, and nobody's is supposed to be scared. I believe it was more bullying and fighting, and just like everybody else was there, they want the people that were there that told the police what was said, but they didn't come up to tell exactly how it happened. Because when I listened to it, the brother said that his brother Austin grabbed his book bag, and when he grabbed his book bag, then Carmelo went in his book bag and got the knife. So just read it in between the lines, you know it had to be some type of tussle.
Mm-hmm.
So just looking at everything that happened, of course it's gonna be self-defense. But are we in the courts? When you have the court system against your skin, we probably not gonna. I'm hoping that he gets the right representation, but he shouldn't even be sitting in jail for attempted murder. Now, lay my plane.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Somebody in the chat room asked, they pose with, yeah, they have, the twins have multiple pictures, not just one. The twins have several, actually. They have several pictures of them posting up with assault rifles. Okay? This is, and their
Exactly.
dad too. Some with by themselves and then some with their dad. Their whole family is like that. Their whole family is like that. Okay, no, and it's y'all talk about is no, it's not hunter stuff. It's not stuff you use to go get deer. I'm talking about rifles, like stuff you see in the military and stuff like that. That's what they get. It's not stuff to get
Exactly.
deer. No,
Assault
it's not.
rifles.
Can I say this? You know this has been going on since I've been on the internet since 2010. White tea families and all their kids up until from 3 to whatever age the grandpa is can stand there and pose with all types of weaponry, right? But the moment that, because we do have black families who do the same things, with the weaponry and stuff, and they do things like this. They capture in the picture. Would you allow your children to do that? Is this right or wrong? But with the YT family, that just it's like normal. All these likes and great jobs, but with us, it's always a question of right or wrong and if we should and stuff. Like we do have the right to bear arms too. We are allowed to teach our family GUN safety. Like we got to stop with the double standards, and we got to stop allowing everybody to ask questions and be pulled on our lives and our culture. Let's cut that out too. So I just wanted to bring that up since you know the
That's
issue
very
of the
true.
family with the GU, and it always aggravated me, Afro.
That's very, yep, very true.
Before you end the live, could
Thank you for
I speak for a
gifting.
moment? I'm here in Texas.
Go, yeah, go ahead.
So I'm in here in Texas, and I heard what the ex police officer was saying. And I almost got myself caught up in a similar situation as far as being able to carry on school grounds. I get what she was saying, how she was trying to explain it. She explained it messed up. And honestly, I don't even think that should matter because that boy shouldn't have put his hands on him, period. And I tell my sons, because I have sons that run track, just my son wasn't at that track meet that time. You can't put your hands on somebody and tell them how they're supposed to react. What she was saying about the knife situation, they do have signs, but we're also supposed to carry clear bags if they're not an athlete. So that also should fall on the school, not even him, if they're going to bring that up at all.
Hmm. That's true.
So that's another thing. And I just Googled the Plano ISD school district, how they check the bags. So it's up to the school's discretion or where the school is having the track meet or the any event to say how a bag can carry. Now, in the school district that my son is in, you have to carry a clear bag. The athletes have them too. They carry them to school just for instance like this. And I actually graduated from a Texas high school. And that started when we was in school. We had to go through metal detectors. We had to carry clear backpacks. So if you guys are letting people carry bags in and you're supposed to check them prior to going in, how did he even get this in? So that's question number one. If she wanted to mention that, they could possibly bring that up as a felony, that's something that needs to be discussed too. How did he even get in with said weapon? Then if they're not going to bring that, let's talk about self-defense. He had no right to touch him. You don't know what has happened to anybody in the past to make him even react like that if they did or didn't know each other. And I try to stay away from the story as much as I can because I do have two teenage boys. And I've had instances where one of my childs, well, they tried to bully him. It didn't work out so good, but he used his hands and he almost got kicked out of school for said, reacting to a bully. But yeah, hopefully I pray that Texas law don't go against him like they go against all the other black men here. Because what she said is true. They will use that against him because he is a young black man.
Hmm.
In Texas, they'll get a whole YT jury, and the first thing they'll say is, "Well, it's a felony to carry a so and so on school property. It's illegal. We have signs. They do have them up. They'll use that, then try to say, well, he came looking for issues because he had said so and so item on him." So I pray they don't try to use that with all the evidence that's coming out about how these young boys were bullying other people, or even possibly that kid, that he did get a good defense and he does have a fair fight with this incident.
Hmm.
And prayers to him and his family because I can only imagine if this was my child, because my child is here only 30 minutes away from where this happened from, what happened at. It's crazy. Like, even with the stand your ground, when everybody was saying Texas is stand your ground, it's so many gray instances, even with that. If you stand your ground and somebody comes to your house, you have certain places where you can stand your ground on that person's body if you use a weapon.
Mm.
So everything in Texas, what that lady was trying to tell you, she wasn't explaining it right because she was more defensive than explaining. But it is tricky. It's a lot of A, B, C, and D that goes along with stand your ground here in Texas. It's not cut and dry like a lot of other states. It's a lot of, they tell you to stand your ground, but you'll mess around and get yourself in life in prison if not done correctly.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Now
And can I say
here's
this?
the
They also
let me follow up with that. My thing is with her, and they will use that. Of course, that's what any smart. Let's think about it like this: a smart prosecutor would use the fact that he bought a weapon to school and he was not supposed to bring a weapon to school. I
Hmm.
gave her that. Now, here's where she lost me is when she said, because of that, the argument of self-defense
It does
can
go out the window
therefore
here in
not be
Texas.
made.
In
And
Texas,
I,
that's that BS. Remember, I told you, you'll
yeah,
get
I
yourself
know,
caught
and
up.
I'm all like, it would make it probably a little bit more difficult for the argument of self-defense to be made, but the argument of self-defense can still be made. It can still be made whether it was there or not there. It can be made because the only way a defense, if I was the defense, the only way you could argue that it wasn't self-defense is if Karmelo approached um Austin. If Karmelo approached Austin, it would not be that. Okay? For you to argue, if it goes to trial, for you to argue, now you can make an enhancement because it was on school grounds or whatever, but I've seen cases where, for instance, the Kyle Rittenhouse case, I get it didn't happen in Texas, but it's still a case study of someone who had a weapon they weren't supposed to have and was still able to slide with self-defense.
And what color is he though? That's
Right?
first.
And now
And
here's the
then
thing.
look, Texas is a
Here's the
red
thing.
state.
If she made the argument, here's because she was arguing in bad faith.
Yeah,
Here's the thing. She wasn't arguing about, well, this is the law and it's not fair, but they will do this to black kids. She wasn't arguing about just strictly on the law. She was really arguing on behalf of Austin, and she was trying to cover it up with, oh no, this is just what the law says.
yeah, but
She
no.
was
See,
on
what she should have
Austin's side.
said was the law in Texas is, and because it is at every school, that's what she's saying. They could probably get the self defense thrown out. When you first pull into any school in Texas, it's a sign that says that. So that, as far as her saying going by the law here in Texas, the laws are crazy.
No,
Texas
no,
is like
because
its own country.
I'm gonna tell you how she was arguing in self defense is because when the second I said, okay, let's not talk about the legal aspect of the situation. The second I said we're not going to talk about the
Yeah,
legal
she hung up.
aspect of
I
the
seen it.
situation, she ran away.
Yeah.
Because she didn't let me talk, and then she ran away.
Yeah, but here in Texas, it is crazy. Like we're like our own little country over here. And I'm not gonna lie to you. Like this whole stand your ground, the way that they have different things. Like we are open carry state, but if you carry in the wrong place, you're definitely getting a felony. Or if you do it at school. So most times when I seen somebody in the comments saying if you carry it to school, they don't always arrest you. It depends on your history with that school, how the principal or said people in the office care about you. You might get suspended or something like that, but they don't always call the police. And I've had that happen in high school. I know somebody that brought a gun on school grounds. He never shot anybody, but
Can
you
say
know,
it,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, an item on school grounds. He never used it or anything, and he only got suspended because he was a good student. They didn't call law enforcement or anything like that. But I get what she was saying because you have to live here to understand the laws. Because I had to learn them not being from here because I'm not from here, but I live here. Moving here, it's a lot different from living up north. Like I'm from up north. So when you think of certain things that you'll see in different states, it's not like here. Like they have their own little country. It's crazy. And like I said, I pray to God that he gets, an equal and even fight and they have a mixed jury and not how they usually try to do us because the way that they'll try to use certain things unless more evidence comes out and shows what that boy was doing, it's not fair here in Texas for us.
Hmm. And I agree with you on that.
And can I
However,
say this?
I will say
Most
before I let you go, I will say I do understand when somebody is arguing because I've debated for years. I understand when somebody is arguing in bad faith. I don't think what you're saying. You're not saying anything in bad faith. You're just talking about the legalese of the situation and how it might be an uphill battle for Carmelo. The lady before you, though, was arguing in bad faith because her argument was she was deliberately trying to defend Austin and make Carmelo the bad guy, and she talked about the legalese and I would have arrested him if I saw him and I patted him down. She was arguing on behalf of Austin as if she was the prosecutor. That's what she was doing. I completely understand what you're saying, but what she was saying was arguing in bad faith.
Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, it's crazy. Just praying for him, his family. The whole situation is crazy in general. We got to start letting our kids bully. It doesn't matter what color they are. It's not okay to bully kids.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this will be, obsolete. Wouldn't even have to deal with it. I seen a lady say that about Texas. Not saying that people can't be cases. They can be cases. Not saying that they can't, but when they start putting the spotlight on a kid like this, they're usually doing it to make us make up our mind already. So when the juries go in there, they don't always tell the truth and say that they know the case or seen the case. And that's how we usually get railroaded. So not saying he can't beat it. I pray to God he can, but I've seen it happen.
Can I say this?
Go
It's
ahead,
a
D.
lot of people in the comments saying, why did he bring a knife and it's not okay to kill because he bullied. First of all, he didn't
You
continue
got to
to
use TikTok
stab him
Premium.
from what I understood. Oh, I'm sorry. He didn't continue to, I think
Poke.
he only,
Say poke.
he
Yeah.
wasn't, he wasn't trying to unalive him.
Mm-hmm.
And they was, and so do we know if it was a pocket knife? What type of knife? Why they keep saying, why did he bring a knife? They make it okay for them when most boys or most men carry a pocket knife. That's how it used to be. So it could have just been he knew he had it on him when they were probably assaulting him. Like I'm just sick of hearing the people saying, "Oh, why did he do this? And why did he unalive him? It's not okay just because you're being bullied." Well, how do we know he wasn't just being bullied? How do we know that he wasn't being assaulted? So, I just wanted to say that for the people in the comments because it's always they always want to vilify our black people and our black men because it's some type of stereotype that black men cannot defend themselves. Black people are not supposed to defend themselves. We're always supposed to get beat up, get unalive they until they decide whether they're wrong or not. And of course, they're never wrong.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think before they ask why do we make everything about race, they need to get rid of them sundown and sunup towns, and then we'll revisit the topic.
Yep. Let's continue.
Yeah, if it wasn't about race, then we would stop. It's obvious that every time we see something, they always vilifying the black person, and whether they unalive the black person or if the black person lives, there is always just like now we're defending uh we have to defend him or he has to defend himself when he said that he was defending himself, but you have all these different stories and they're going to make him look like the bad person and not trying white tea people are always looking like the victor no
Okay.
matter
Okay.
what wrong they do, and they hold the court seats, they hold most of the judge seats, most of the
All
officers.
right. All right. We're gonna.
We constantly see it.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. We're gonna get you Diatra or Dietra. I don't know how to.
Yes,
Oh,
it's Deidre. It's
Deidre.
kind of weird, but it's Deidre. Hi. I would like to, comment on certain parts of the conversation and the argument.
Mm-hmm.
First off, I was watching it on the news and I was hearing different people's sides and stuff. And, I be on TikTok and I be watching influencers and what they be saying. I stumbled across this one lady that said that Austin had drugs in his system.
You can't say the D
Well,
word.
okay, my bad. He had, bad things in the system, whatever. And
Uh-huh.
on top of that, for a kid, I don't believe any kid should be, drinking syrup, like pop, drinking pop, or, playing with toys, whatever. I think that a kid should stay a kid. First off, the first conversation that I did hear, um, Austin and Carmelo, is that how you say his name, Carmelo?
Hmm. Yeah.
They were at a party, whatever. And what
Hmm.
I heard was at the party, it was a girl that Austin and his friends and his brother was messing with, and Carmelo intervened like any other person. I would intervene on a situation if I feel like somebody is being bullied because I've been bullied all my life. So if I see another person being bullied, I'm going to say something. And in that instant, somehow, some way, his phone got broke. That was the beginning of all the things that people was throwing at him and people was saying. And they also had said at the track meet, he came there, he just sat down. I don't think he had any intention on what had played that night, or that day, or what had came down to the point of him, poking someone. But the thing is, I feel like when you're in school or you're at any type of school, you do not walk up to someone and tell them, if you don't move, I'm going to remove you. I went to Denby High School and I was approached like that, and there was a big fight.
Mm-hmm.
You do not walk up to anybody and say anything like that because you don't know what would happen. What was on his mind, I'm figuring, yeah, y'all broke my phone. Yeah, we had altercation. Yeah, I was trying to help this girl, and y'all thought it was cool to touch my belongings. And then you and your brother grabbed my bag, and y'all in my face, y'all throwing, they was probably throwing their hands up, whatever they was doing. I don't know, this kid situation. The whole situation was messed up because, first of all, they should have got an adult. If you see somebody inside your section and up under your tent, okay, I'm going to get in the dark. I'm not about to sit there and approach that person and threaten them and put my hands on them. I've seen a lot of people say colored boy. Like, come on now. Come on now. He's not, don't say colored. Like, them type of words is what make these type of circumstances happen. My brother, my oldest brother, was killed by white tea people.
Cannot say
You
you
can't
can't.
say
Well,
that.
no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. My oldest brother was unalived by YT people, and he was in that type of situation, and it was bad for him at that time because he was somewhere where he shouldn't have been. My understanding from Karmelo, okay, he probably was upset, he probably was angry about the situation. He just went to go and watch a game. It wasn't nothing serious. It wasn't nothing bad. It just, he was at the wrong place in the wrong time, and the wrong thing had happened. He didn't feel like none of that was going to happen because that wasn't on his heart and it wasn't on his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I pray that he get the justice that he deserved, because it's not like he premeditated whatever was going on. It just happened.
Yeah, my thing, and I hear people making the argument legally. I'll use
Mm-hmm.
that one lady who claimed she was a cop, legal gangster. What I don't like is I don't like when people, now we should be honest about the legal situation that we're dealing with. We should be honest. Let's not be delusional. But I don't like when people be all like, "Well, no, he did have a knife now, and that's going to advance this situation, and they never do us justice." When we the kind of approaching the situation with the glass half empty attitude, when if we socialize and we keep this glass half empty attitude, this is what would make Karmelo take a plea. The community, I'm going to tell you what we need to do. As a community, we need to be making every single defense we can make for him and aiding him in his defense, whether that's legally, whether that's coming up with different arguments. We need to defend him because he was not in the wrong. But if we get out here and we start talking about, well, I mean, you did do it. I mean, you did have a knife and you was supposed to have a knife. What's gonna go in his head, we don't know what's in his head right now. What's gonna go in his head is everybody says I did it. Everybody says I'm not gonna be able to win. I'm gonna take a plea. We don't
Right.
want him to take a plea. If he goes to trial based off of what we know, and I can guarantee you there's stuff we don't know. Based off of what we know, he can walk if he goes to trial. Based off of the evidence we have right now, what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to get the social discourse out that Karmelo is some type of criminal and thug, and they're going to put the pressure on him to take a plea. That's why they're playing these little games with the GoFundMe. That's because they don't want him to get out on bail. They're playing these little games. We ain't heard they don't want to do no interview with Carmelo's father or Carmelo's mother or anybody who knew Karmelo. The only people who's doing interviews are people who's talking about Austin. So they're playing these little games to put the pressure on Karmelo to make him crack so he can take a plea. In order for us to stand up for him, we need to not have a glass half empty attitude when we have this situation. If we want to talk about the legalese of the situation, if we want to talk about the fact that this might be an uphill battle, and it might be, but I don't like how the other lady was bringing up the whole, well, it is first degree because you shouldn't have had a knife. Man, no, let's not even talk like that.
Right.
Let's not even put that out there. No, it's
And
not
you
even
know,
first degree, and we should not try to rationalize for the prosecutor why it should be first degree.
right. And you know, I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry about that, sir. But the main thing is, like, I live in the hood, okay? And I went to Denby High School, and everybody know Denby is Southeastern, and Osborne is the worst schools you can go to, and I went to all three. Okay, I had circumstances just like he had circumstances. And the main thing is, if you're being bullied to a point where you have to defend yourself and you feel like you have to go somewhere and keep something on your person, okay, to make you feel comfortable, and you're by yourself, you don't have nobody with you, but this YT person has his brother and has a whole fan base behind him. Everybody running their mouth at the same time. Don't nobody know how to mind their own business and keep them hands to themselves. And everybody's gonna lie for this person because guess what? That's his brother. Those are his friends. They're going to lie. They're going to make him look like he's the better person, or he was just trying to de-escalate a situation, whatever they say, like confrontation. Like, come on now. We both know that's not true. I've been to school. I've seen it. I've seen it happen a thousand times, a dozen times to different people. It's always that one person. Oh, he was innocent. He didn't say anything. But the main thing is, why did you put your hands on him? That was not your place. You are not grown. You are a child. You do not touch him or his belongings. Keep your hands to yourself. My mama always taught me that. If you keep your hands to yourself, you stay alive. Everybody knows that. So whatever happened, I'm not saying that it was the right thing for him to do. I'm not saying that, but everybody defend themselves in their own way. It's different situations, different times, different places for different people. And it's sad because both of these children are young. They both are babies. If things was handled in the right manner, none of this stuff would ever happen. And by him being in Texas, and we all know Texas, you know, they do got a racist justice system. You
Mm-hmm.
know, not us black people. We always have our rights down there. You know, it's not going to be the same as YT people. Let's
Mm-hmm.
just put that out there. But I do feel bad for both of these boys, and I wish Karmelo the best of luck. But I'm gonna end this right here and say that either way it goes, the young man was just trying to protect himself. That's it. Bottom line.
Yep,
Can I chime in?
that's true. Thank you. Uh, Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, I appreciate it, man. I like your live and the things that you're saying. And despite what someone said in the comments saying you think you're a lawyer, I think you got a real smart legal mind. But check this out, man. You know, I don't want to point blame, but I've noticed that, and it's been going on years before, but more so since the first term of Trump and the second term, and his MAGA thing, "Make America Great Again." And I just noticed that, unfortunately, our white counterparts, YT, they feel empowered, man. I mean, going back to that old Jim Crow stuff, trying to put hands and tell you where to stand and what you can do and what you can't do, say yes, sir, no, sir, that type of stuff. And today, man, I mean, people aren't putting up with that. People that became educated, they know something about history, and, they're not going to deal with that, man. I mean, I look at Trump and Gaza and all these different foreign countries and Greenland and, just boldly taking stuff, taking charge, and nobody else have rights, and, just stepping on people. And
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's kind of what happened here, man.
Mm-hmm.
Austin, maybe was a bigger guy, like the lady said before, Deidre, was saying that, you know, had the fan base behind him. You know, this guy is not, you know, he's a model student from what everybody's saying. I haven't, you know, thoroughly looked into it. I just found out about this going on. I'm a truck driver. I just heard about this on your live. But my question goes back to like the other truck driver. What about the truck drivers that's been unalived out there for no reason? You know, up in Carolinas and all of this, just because of the color of their skin. You know, we just need to face the fact, man. It's not going to never be fair. Our lives aren't valued. Okay, they're not valued. Period. Because if someone value you, they won't impose this type of, you know, treatment on you. Period. You know, they're imposing this horrific treatment, man. And this guy's a model student. They say he's an A student. I'm hearing on different lies, but they're still trying to make him like a criminal. That's what really got me, you know, Faberglass, that he, even though he's a good student, they try to make him look bad. Mike Brown, they say, was a good student. They tried to make him look bad. They always destroy the credibility to paint them, you know, like this villain in the media, like the other panelists was saying, so that they can go after their jugular. You know, so I'm just fearful and hoping that the right people, you know, watch out for him while he's in the system. You know, because a lot can happen. You know, it's just that guy got unalive in police custody. You know, it's just not fair, man. It's just not fair, no matter how you put a spin on it. You know, everybody's life mattered. Poor Austin's life mattered. Karmelo's mattered. You know, and it's just all this rhetoric that's out there. You know, this or that, or he shouldn't have had, you know, nothing to poke nobody with, and, you know, this and that. I mean, like the lady said, why did he feel he had to have that? It's supposed to be America, man. We're supposed to be all safe here. But the laws don't make everybody equally safe. You know, and if you keep going to the authorities and, hey, I got this problem, and they keep, you know, pushing you off, pacifying you, and never really deal with the issue, it's going to reach critical mass, and it's going to come to a point where you have to defend yourself. I mean, hell, I mean, if you believe in scripture and the Bible, you know, Lucifer tried that stuff in heaven, tried to take it over. You know, like, you know, God said, you know, the kingdom suffered violence, but the violence taken by force. He wasn't going for that, but we're supposed to go for it year in and year out. No matter how it looks, you know, how it plays out, we're supposed to be subservient and just be annihilated. You know, when history tell, and everybody have to give an account, you know, and when it's asked, what did you do with your time? Did you value the life I gave you? Did you value other lives? We can say yes, because there's a lot of people on these different panels who are so-called black. They're taking and looking at it from the perspective of Austin's rights. Others are looking at it from the perspective of Karmelo's rights. But I haven't saw, you know, one YT person chime in on Karmelo's side. You know, they're saying, oh, he shouldn't have did this, or he shouldn't have did that, or it shouldn't have been this, or it shouldn't have been that. But if it had been a reverse role where it had been Karmelo that was unalive, then it'd be like that Daniel Penny. Now you're talking about, you know, somebody fear for, you know, bodily injury or life. You know, that was not justified. He choked that man. I was a subway full of people that could have, you know, controlled his emotions, stopped all of the threat, and let the police do their job. He premeditated the unaliving by suffocating him on his carotid nerve. Okay, I went through a sheriff academy, and I know that carotid nerve will put you out quick. So he knew when the body went limp that the threat was over. But he held on to him, like somebody said earlier, to make sure that his job was done. But what did Vance and them do? Invite him to the Super Bowl. Okay, that emboldened people. So, like the lady that, you know, had to unalive that firefighter for trying to do her boyfriend, she walked. I mean, it was no argument there. And I hate to tell you guys, but we're going to have to get dirty before we can get clean. Straight up. I just hate that that's the case, man. It's not us. We love people. We try to love. But it's not going to be, it's going to hit, man. It's going to hit. It's going to reach critical mass, period. but not because of us, because nobody else want to change their ways. Okay, mistakes was made in the past. I forgive you, bro. Let's move on. Let's forget about that. Let's try to make amends and try to do the right thing moving forward. But you bringing the past to the future, and you're not letting that past go away. You're trying to reinstitute it, man. And then you got this president there trying to reinstitute the stuff, going after everything. That's my great grandfather was a Buffalo soldier, man. Trying to take all the
One
accolades
minute.
and make it mean nothing. Make it mean nothing.
Okay, wait a minute. I need clarity. I'm
Can I
sorry. I
say
need
something,
clarity.
please?
I
Hold
wait.
on, hold
No,
on, hold on.
I need clarity. Are you saying when you say we're bringing the past to the future or the forefront? I need you to hone in on that and tell me
Okay.
what
What I'm
past. Do you mean
yes, ma'am.
stop talking about racism? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
no. No. What I'm saying, ma'am, is that they're not trying to rectify the wrong. They're trying to further irritate it. Okay, it was done. They're unapologetic about it. Then they tried, the new generation is trying to relive the old stuff and make that stuff continue. Okay, that's what I mean. Is that clarity enough or no?
Can I say something?
No. What is
I'm gonna
your
let
race
you.
and
I'm gonna let you
ethnicity?
wrap it up. I'm gonna let you wrap that up so we can get to some of the other speakers.
Okay, what is my ethnicity?
Your race and ethnicity.
Yeah. I'm what you would call a so-called black.
A so-called black. What does that mean, sir? What do you
What
present
that
as?
mean, ma'am, is that we are Hebrew. That's what that means. That means the
Oh, you're
blacks
Hebrew.
are trying to
Okay,
take
Whoa,
that, no,
away.
no, no.
whoa,
You don't
hold
have
on,
to
hold on, hold on.
elaborate. I
Come
just
on now.
needed to know what group, what a group you identify as. That's all I
I
needed to
identify with the
understand.
so-called African American. I'm looking
Right.
at
So
the
I
plight
needed
that
to
my
hold
people are
on,
dealing
hold
with.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Because the Hebrews think different than the American Indians, and the Hebrews all think different than the foundational Black Americans. So I needed to put your comments into context, and
Okay.
that's why I asked you how do you identify with your race and
Well,
ethnicity.
right.
That I'm
Okay, I
trying to make
understand, ma'am.
sense
I'm
of your
sorry, Miss
statement.
BX, but what I'm saying is this:
Okay.
I'm not talking about the Hebrew Israelites. I'm talking about the Hebrew of the Bible. I'm not talking about any
Okay.
cliques or
But
any type
I'm
of
gonna let you,
groups.
brother. I'm gonna let you get like a
Okay.
20
Yeah, you
seconds
can
so you
wrap it
can
up.
land
I
your
just
point
wanted
because
to.
we
I
still
needed
got other
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
clarity on your statement. Go ahead.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Thomas, and what were you saying? Or Sherman? Thomas or Sherman was saying something.
No, I
No,
was
no,
gonna
no,
go next.
no, Sherman.
They want to speak next.
Oh, okay.
That's what
I
they
know,
were
but
saying.
Philip was next. Philip's
Oh,
been
Philip.
waiting since the
Okay.
beginning.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to. I just want to just add that. I know it's just my opinion and my belief, but it's just sad that it's happened. It happened that way, and I'm just noticing that the youth is not dealing with it no more, and you're gonna be seeing more of this. You're gonna see more because they won't change. And people are tired, man. You
Oh,
can
I
you
got
can
what he's saying.
you
You
can put
saying
a
they
dog
fighting
into a
back?
corner, bro. You can put a cocker spaniel into a corner, and you keep doing stuff to him. That dog gonna get vicious, man. He gonna get vicious. I saw it happen, and that's what's gonna happen, and that's what's scaring them. Because saying, "Hey, if we don't make an example of him, what if the rest of these guys start thinking like Karmelo or the other lady? Start thinking about self-protection. What if they start thinking like that? What do America look like? I'm gonna tell you, just like Malcolm X said, powder keg waiting to erupt, straight up. But I'm finished, man. I appreciate you, Afro Elite. I like all your commentary, man.
Thank you.
You the truth. Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you, brother. Thank you.
You
Thank you.
got it, man. I'm gonna follow you, and I done shared you with a bunch of people because we need more forums like this, man. We
Mhm.
do. Maybe we can reach them, man, because we don't hate people, man. I don't hate Whitey, man. I love everybody, man. But I'm saying, like, bro, I hurt too, man. I hurt. I got family, I got loved ones. When things happen to mine, I feel like you. But you guys don't see it that way, man. They just won't love us, man. They're not gonna love us.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, brother. Let's get to Philip. Philip, you got it.
Oh, okay. So I just want to.
Damn. Philip, what happened?
Can
He
you
must
hear
have
me?
got a phone
Yeah, yeah.
or a text.
Okay.
There you go again.
We can't hear you no more. Like, what's going on, Philip?
Okay. Okay. It won't let me do it. I was just wanting to read something to you from an eyewitness. and the eyewitness. I just don't want to be incorrect what I say. I just want to be correct, so I won't try to go off what's in my head. And but I did even excuse me, I did text it to you. Uh, short. The twins wouldn't even shouldn't have been on the field. From the eyewitness, and Karmelo was actually at the tent with some other friends when they approached him, and they shouldn't have approached him. He is actually Karmelo actually runs track, and the twins don't.
I've heard that
Now,
before.
whether he was at the track meet to um, he was going to run at that particular time. It didn't say, but it did say he is a track athlete, and he was there at that. It wasn't expecting for them to come, but they have been bullied. They are known bullies. He and his brother. So I just wanted to put that out there, and then I was going to say also, and then I'm leave it alone. Is that a lot of people are failing to understand intent, and we were shouting, we're going crazy. But what was Carmella's intent? His intent was not to, I wouldn't say to kill, but his intent was
You
probably
can't say
to
that
stop.
word. You can't say that word, but
Oh, I
keep
said
going.
it. My bad. My bad. I was talking too fast. His intent, I don't believe, was to unalive, but to stop a threat, and that's a big thing. But no one's talking about the intent. And then I'm done right there. But when you get a chance, check your email. When you get, I mean, your text or your message
Yeah,
when you get.
I definitely will. I definitely will. Thank you for that, Thomas.
Yeah.
You got it, Thomas.
All right. Here's. Um. Yeah, it's levels to this thing right here, right now, with how it's being handled, and you summed it up in a lot of words early on when you spoke about, when you spoke to the legal lady and she dipped off or whatever the case may be, but the kid had a right to stand his ground, whether he was antagonizing the situation or not. Texas law with the stand your ground law is symbolic to the same law dealing with Florida, where even if you the one that's provoking the situation, as long as you didn't put your hands on no one, you can still stand your ground if that person put their hands on you. This is what we feeling. This is what a lot of people is feeling and realizing is going over their head. Now, if the kid was being bullied, not even so much as bullied, once Austin or his brother touched his bag, that was considered an assault because he took his personal property from him. And stand your ground, that law, stand your ground, clearly states that you are there to stand your ground for you as well as your property. So I don't know what nobody else ain't getting in their mind. That kid shouldn't be sitting in there for the charges that he's sitting in there for. And it's just disgusting, and it's making it even worse with all the rhetoric that all of a sudden now, after all these years of the unalignment of so many people on based off of staying your ground. And people got a whole lot to say about it. So with that, I'm gonna just land because I know that you getting ready to get off and you gotta get the other people.
Yeah, I'm trying to be fair and let people come up,
Right,
real quick. But I appreciate that. I
right.
appreciate that. Thank you, brother. And let's be honest. The argument people are making about the knife, until we don't have any confirmation, and I'm talking about we don't have confirmation on what type of knife it was. We don't. It could have been a it could have been a utility kit thing that just had a knife compartment with it. It could be a very small little knife. It could be something that was illegal for him to have. We don't know. However, what the prosecutor would have to prove is that he bought the knife there with the intent. The intent plays a huge factor in this. He bought the knife there with the intent on using the knife. That's what he would have to prove. They would have to prove without a shadow of a doubt that he bought the knife there with the intent on using it. But the thing is that the knife was not out. If that knife wasn't even on his person, if it was in his bag, well, technically that is his person, but it wasn't on his body. It's not like it was in his pants pocket. It was in his bag. The knife wasn't out, nor can they prove that he was ever going to use this knife prior to being assaulted. The only time the knife was in play was after he was assaulted. And then he warned, that's another very important aspect, and then he warned Austin not to do it, and Austin continued to do it. That's when the knife came into play. After he was assaulted the first time, and after the warning, and he was assaulted the second time. A push is an assault. That is an assault. Okay? Any physical altercation can be considered an assault. If you push a police, you have assaulted the police officer. So yes, a push is an assault. There's been people who've tried to push the goalpost about what an assault is. No, a push is an assault. A grab is an assault. A shove is an assault. All of these things are considered an assault. Now, with that being said, let's get to what was your name? You got a long name.
Sherman.
Sherman.
Yeah,
Sherman.
it's just my first name and last name put together.
Oh,
My
okay.
bad. But now, I'm actually from the colony, and the colony's right next door to Frisco, and
Mm.
the people are coming out and telling the truth of what's going on. It's even came out that they've already jumped Buddy. They jumped him beforehand, him and his brother. And also, it's coming out that like the letter that he's wrote that they were trying to jump him under that tent. So he
Okay.
was
Yep.
not only was he not aggressive, he was getting assaulted by both of them at that time. And now it's coming out that he had he had stuff in his system to where that made him go into shock when that hit. And the autopsy says that it was the cause of unaliving was the wound in overdose.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, um, everyone that these two twins have are coming out and telling them that this is what's actually going on. This ain't nothing new. Everybody knows who he is. So with the laws that have to go behind getting bullied, Buddy's gonna be okay. Especially if they keep on coming out and talking. There's actually people that are talking against the Collin County School District that this is going on frequently. When I went to the Collin High School, I went through these same things, and I started fighting. Back when I was younger, we didn't really carry weapons like that. We were fighting, and right now it's a different age. But y'all have to understand. Have any of y'all done like book fairs? I mean, like when you had to go out and sell candy, and then they have these prizes that you can get. You know what I'm saying? When you were in school,
Yeah. Yes.
they sell those. They sell pocket knives on there in Texas. Like we're like weapon love. We love them. We love them. So I understand the people aspect. They're talking about the knife situation and talking about this and that. Everyone and their mama got a knife on them out here. It's like having a toothbrush. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, yeah, I can say I'm not gonna say he shouldn't have had it because he knows who these two people are. They know that they do UGs. They know that they are bullies. You have the right to protect yourself in Texas. In the state of Texas, if you but Mr. Afro, if you come to me and you talk to me in a certain type of way and you try to take something from me, I have every right to do whatever I want to get you away from me in the state of Texas. It's not like a normal state like New York or Ohio or these other states. It's not like that at all in Texas. Well, Ohio has the same laws as us when it comes to with that. But I'm saying it's not like other states. And our Frisco area is a good area. The buddy already has a lawyer. Like his parents, and when you're in Frisco and you move to Frisco, you got money. It's known. If someone moves to Frisco, it's kind of like an upper class. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. It's not like a low class or anything. And also, the first degree is already dropped down to second degree. So at the end of the day, I've been through the law system without a court date. Do you know how hard that is to happen for your first degree to drop down to second degree? That's hard. It's basically saying that they got the story wrong at first. So what my belief is, and I really really believe it because of everything that's coming out and everyone that's standing up for Carmelo because of the actions of Buddy previously, it's going to drop down to manslaughter, and then
And
from
this is
manslaughter, yes sir.
keep going. And this is why we got to keep on. We got to keep doing what we're doing because the narrative, because we're pushing this, we're actually on his defense. Because if we weren't saying anything, they would probably keep it to where it was. But because there's so much discourse about this situation and so many eyes are on this situation, that's making the prosecution have to rethink their approach. They can't pull the same little BS that they were able to pull if nobody's looking. But continue.
Yeah, and you're very right. It's Frisco. If you know anything about Frisco, they just like probably 5 or 7 years back, their school, one of their biggest schools out there, was named the Raccoons. They call them Coons.
Mhm.
So the town is ran by the good old boy system. If anybody knows what that is,
Man, what are you
it's
talking about? San Francisco?
no, we're talking about Frisco, Texas, brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So uh so it's ran by a good old boy buddy system, a good old boy system, as I would say back in the day. It's ran by these collect fruit of families that really they are for their people. But in that aspect, he ran track. Like someone was saying, he ran track. He was under the tent talking to his girlfriend, but him and his brother came over there and they told him to leave the tent or something's gonna happen. He was like, no, actually they were like messing with his girlfriend or something like that, and they told him to leave the tent, and he said no. He stood his ground. He did exactly what the law says to do in any aspect, to stand your ground. He did what he did. He protected his girl, and in that time, all that happened. The brother that came up and talked and said that he wasn't involved, it's already paperwork saying that he's involved. You know what I mean? They both do the same actions. So like I'm not saying don't keep on speaking about it at all. If you go to my repost, it tells you there's a dude from out here and he has the documents that's talking about the autopsies of what actually caused the problems and all that. But at the end of the day, yes, keep on talking about this because that town is cesspool. It is. It's point blank period. It's always been like that. The school system, the teachers knew who those people were. They should have been not even let them even come into the football in the track field because they are football players. They don't even deal with track. And then the dad already came out and talked, and he said that we've had problems with this family. They've already jumped my child. So at the end of the day, I really truly, it's going to take some time, but I don't think anything's going to happen to little dude. At the most, like a high misdemeanor. But I don't feel as though he's going to go first degree. I know he's not going second degree because I've dealt with the law system. For me to get some of my stuff dropped, it took a year. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It takes for you can't go from 1 month getting a first degree and then in one day you can get a first degree and then in 3 days you drop down to a second degree. Oh no, not in the state of Texas. I don't know, somewhere else probably, but here, oh no, they gonna keep you. So
Yes.
that's good. That's good hope, and it's good when I can leave it out there.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying earlier, and I'm gonna let Jay go after this. This is what I was saying earlier. For the prosecution, now that's news to me that they lowered it from first degree to second degree. For the prosecution to lower it from first degree to second degree in less than a week. I want you guys to keep this in mind. This story is only like a few days old. This is not even a week old story. So in less than a week, it went from first degree to second degree. In less than a week, oh, the whole family has changed their entire tempo. From the dad, the mom, the brother, everybody's changed their entire tempo. They don't want to be in front of the media anymore. It seems as if they thought one thing in the very beginning, and then later on, there's a very major piece of evidence that they're all like, okay, we're going to have to completely switch the way we're operating right now because they're sitting on something that makes Austin look bad. They're sitting on something, whether that's a video, whether that's evidence of candy, you know what I mean when I say candy, whether he wasn't sober, whether that's evidence that they've gotten into an altercation beforehand, whether that's evidence of some type of racist action to either him or some other black child. They're sitting on something to make them be all like, okay, we can't approach this as aggressively as we were before. It could be everything. There's some reason why they are hitting the brakes on this situation. They were full speed ahead 3 days ago, and everybody is dialing back. They're doing that for a reason because they've had a conversation and they said, okay, clearly there's a major piece of evidence that's going to change the narrative than what we originally had it before. Clear. That's the only reason they would do that. With that being said, let's get to Jay.
All right, thank you for letting me get on, Afro Man. So there's a lot been said, and like you said, I'm going to kind of like piggyback off of where you just finished. That a lot has been said in the last 3 days from when this has taken place, and I think that, I mean, as I read the title, self-defense or Carmelo, he's innocent. I mean, I try to simplify things like what happened in Florida with Trayvon Martin. Um, when a weapon comes out and it's used, you have to take account for what you've done with it. We talk about bullying, and who hasn't gone to high school anywhere in the country and experienced or seen bullying? I'm all about trying to diffuse situations. We've heard different stories about, was he supposed to be in the tents? Is that his tents? Is somebody else's tents? If you've already had an altercation with somebody who's tried to jump you, and you see them coming again, if you're going to be in that vicinity and they start to engage you again, why not leave the situation? I mean, I know Texas, they have their stand their ground and stuff, but it's he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day. We Carmelo has now put himself in a situation where everybody's now trying to rally to support him, but he could have saved himself. We need to be more conscious of being accountable for what we do to ourselves and can't always
So
cast blame or say this is not fair. They're going to paint a picture about us. Don't give them the opportunity to paint a
okay,
picture
so
about us.
the case
I
is
don't agree with you.
what you're saying now.
No.
Yeah, he could have chose a different decision. He could have, and let's be honest, Carmelo could have chose something different. Austin also could have chose something different.
Sure.
Who is more in the wrong here? The one who started the fight or the one who responded in a way that you disagree with?
But it's what we've all learned growing up. If there's someone picking
We've
on
all
you,
learned. We've
One
all
minute.
learned growing
we've
up.
all
What
learned.
we have
So listen,
all learned growing up, sir,
can I
is
can
to
I
keep
can I
your
finish?
hands to
Can I
yourself. That's
finish?
what we've
Can I
all
No,
finish?
learned.
no, no, no,
You asked
no.
me a
He
question.
wants he
Can I
wants black
finish?
people to do what they want, what white people want them to do is always run away and not defend themselves, as we
I
say.
find it. I
Well,
find it.
And not
Oh,
one
wait.
moment, one
Oh,
moment. Not
you
only
can't.
that,
But
we
you
have
just cut.
grown up, but they're still adolescents, aren't they teens? We are grown. I'm grown. I've learned that lesson. They haven't.
listen, but I'm a
right?
father
So you
of two
can't put
young
grown
boys. Can I
expectations
please
on
finish?
Well,
Can I
17
okay,
year
please
olds.
finish?
let's let Jay go ahead, Jay.
Yes, thank you.
And you
Thank
don't
you.
know if they were holding him down. You don't know the
Listen,
situation.
listen, listen, listen. We don't know, and a lot more is going to come out. As we said, it's only been 3 days, right? So a lot more information is going to come out. But I have two sons of my own, and I'm raising my children to make sure that they look after themselves and make sure their life matters.
Okay.
Do what you can to look after yourself so you're not caught in a situation. If there's a bully, get out of the situation. Get away from there. There's
Just
no
like
need.
hands up, don't shoot, I guess.
If
Okay.
they put
Hold
hands
on.
on,
Let's
listen.
let him go.
I went to school too. People try to put hands on me. I had bullies, but I'm still here. I'm okay. I got a family now. So all I'm saying is we need to be more conscious of teaching our kids how to survive and advance. You have to
Now,
put yourself in a situation where
and,
you can
and
get
let's
out
say,
of it
let's
and
say I
move
agree.
forward.
I do agree with that. We do need to be more conscious of teaching our kids how to de-escalate. What do you think Austin's family should have taught him? Because we're
No,
talking about Carmelo. What Carmelo and let's agree.
yes,
I agree.
absolutely. Okay.
Carmelo, he should have been taught how to defuse a
Yeah,
situation. Now
yeah.
let's talk about what Austin's family should have taught
Okay.
Austin. Go
Austin's
ahead.
family
Go
now.
ahead.
Now
What should have Austin's
yes,
family taught him?
sure. So with Austin's family, what's being said is that Austin and his brother are the bullies. Some families like to teach their kids to be bullies. I would say don't teach your kids to be bullies. But we all know that we've all gone to school with bullies. So it looks like Austin and his brother are the bullies. So they are the instigator. They've come to start it. That's what it appears to look like. But what I feel is that what we need to be in control of is how we can protect ourselves.
Well,
And
technically though, Carmelo did protect himself.
but also you and I both know that when you protect yourself in this manner, this is what happens. And now he's in a position where his future is in doubt.
Can I say
Well,
something?
and
Are
that's
we
not
are we
fair
are we
because
excusing
It's
he's
not
bullying?
being
fair.
railroaded. He's
I
being
guess he should have
railroaded.
did
It's
like
not
Muhammad
Are
fair.
we
Ali and
But he
just
is
stayed
allowed
in
this
his
to
Everybody
workplace.
got to
happen.
stop. Everybody can't jump off the mic when I'm
Thank
talking
you.
because then everybody can hear.
Thank
He's
you.
being railroaded because
I
you're
mean,
not making the argument that Carmelo was that Austin wasn't in the wrong.
no, I just said
Everybody
he
that
was in
gets
the
on
wrong.
Carmelo
I
is
just said he
skipping
was
over
the
the fact that
instigator.
Austin started it. Did he not?
I,
Did he not start it?
I said he was the instigator, didn't I?
Okay, but the first thing you came up here and said was that Austin should have learned better, and Austin should have. I mean, Carmelo should have done better, and Carmelo should have. He should have walked away when he saw.
Yes, he should
Um,
have. And the reason why, and let me
but
answer that.
here's the
And
thing:
hold on,
to be
let me answer
honest,
that real quick.
here's
Let
the
me answer that real
thing:
quick.
he should not have. I'm gonna make the argument that he shouldn't have.
No, no,
Man,
but
He
Afro,
shouldn't
this is
have
the
walked
reason why.
away. Why should?
Afro, this is the reason why I think he should have, because we live where we live in this country. We know that there are double standards. Look, we're not gonna beat around the bush about it. There are double standards, and we have to do what we can to preserve ourselves. They
Hey,
Which is
I'm sorry.
why,
Let me say this out loud.
which
let me
is
finish.
why
One moment,
Let me
one
Carmelo,
finish.
moment,
Let me finish.
everybody,
which
Let me
is
one
finish.
why
mic,
Carmelo
Let me
one
had
finish.
a
mic.
weapon,
Let me finish. Let me
which
finish.
is why
I've,
Carmelo
I've
had
heard
a
I've
device.
heard some. Listen, I've heard some comments about sundown cities and things like that. And I actually, where I live now, I was told that there's a sundown city close by. Do you think I'm ever going to go to that
29%.
city? No, I'm not, because I don't want to be there when the sun goes down. That's
Okay.
life prevention.
Y'all,
You're
Now,
y'all,
protecting
autopsy
your
came
life.
out. He was on Molly.
okay, you cannot. First off, you can't say that on TikTok. Okay, you gotta clean it
My
up.
Justification.
apologies were my apologies.
Okay, yeah, okay, but I'm gonna let you go. I'm
Autopsy
gonna let you
came
go.
out.
Okay. If he's under the influence, that
yeah.
still doesn't mean that we should pull out something that could penetrate the skin.
I agree,
We
but it justifies his
One
Hold
moment,
actions to
on,
be on
one
bruh,
moment,
bullying
stop,
one
Carmelo.
moment,
stop,
one moment.
because I'm about to
Pastor,
wrap
may
this
I
up.
ask a question?
If folks keep doing this, I'm gonna just have to drop folks because we ain't gonna be here like too much longer anyway.
Right. So how do you get rid of a bully, right? Because here's the thing. You're saying that Carmelo could have walked away, right? Maybe he
Yes.
tried. We don't know that, right? But say that he did and Austin was still alive and stuff. What would happen the next day and the next day and the next day? So when you said, well, I wouldn't move to a sundown town, wouldn't the correct answer be to shut it down or push to have it shut down? You have to
Yeah, and
deal with a
you
bully,
shut it
or
and you
you're going to
shut it
keep getting
down.
bullied.
With the way you shut
That's
down
where
the
I'm at
bully,
with it,
the
y'all.
way you shut down the bully is you get
Hmm.
authorities involved. You have to
Right.
fight the fight the way they fight the fight. Because now the
He
authorities
had
are
two good
on
guys on
Carmelo.
him.
So he's
He
got
probably
to
could.
get
He probably
So
the
the
tried. We
thing
authorities
don't know
involved,
at
yet.
the time, let's
stop
let's
the
put
bully.
yourself
We
in
don't
that
know yet.
situation. Let's put yourself in that situation. You're sitting down, you're minding your own business. Two people come up. We don't know if Carmelo saw them walking up to the tent.
Okay.
But let's say they next thing you know, they're at the tent and
Yeah.
then they tell you get up and move. You're saying that Carmelo, instead of saying no, I'm not gonna move, Carmelo should have just obeyed his white
No,
masters and got up and
no,
moved. Is that
I
what you're
did
saying?
not say obey.
No,
Carmelo,
that
no, I'm going
okay.
to
What are
answer
you
it. I'm
saying
going to
then?
answer it. I'm going to answer it. I'm not saying obey, but we do have to put into context that we've had an altercation with these two before. So now they've come to me and now again and said, leave the tent. I'm going to say, seriously, why do I need to do that? We don't want you here. If he says we don't want you here, then whoever's in the tent, whoever I'm supposed to be talking to, whether it's my girlfriend or some other friends, I'll ask them, is that true? Do you want me to leave? Now I'm involving everybody in the tent. If they all say now, well, yeah, you kind of got to go or whatever, then I take my girlfriend and I leave. And then
Your
there's no
hypothetical,
drama and the
That
day
is
is
such the
fine.
dude.
your hypothetical is too outlandish, bro. Like at the end of the day, you have to understand this has not just happened once to Buddy. Like he has. Do you not think he did not try this? He's went
How do
through
you
it
know? How do you know
fully.
that? How do you know that
It's
he
all
has?
his
How do you know
dad
that he
has
has?
came out. His dad has came out and said that these things have been happening.
Well, why
Okay,
haven't they gone to
hold
the
on.
authorities?
We're gonna let Jay go ahead. We're gonna let Jay go
All
ahead
right,
and
man.
go
Y'all don't want to
to
hear
the next
nothing. All
speaker.
right,
But
man.
I'm
Can I
saying
say something
for
before
you
he
to
leaves?
say
Jay, did you?
for you to say that this guy essentially should have had a survey or a poll about asking everybody in the tent
Yes,
if he is
yes,
allowed to stay in the tent, that
yes.
mind you, Austin nor his brother have any ownership or authority of, is wild. That is wild.
But by doing that, you are engaging everybody in the vicinity. Therefore, now they look even bigger of jerks to come over to ask you to leave.
He
They
should
are,
he
because that
shouldn't.
is what
Can
they
I?
did.
Hold on,
That
stop,
is
Can
what
stop,
I
they
hold
say
on,
this?
did.
Did
stop.
he not
He's never
hear
been in
the
a fight
interview? The
before.
brother said that he grabbed him. Did you not hear what the
Okay,
brother said?
okay.
Then the
And if
brother
he's
tried to make an
grabbed, if he
excuse.
puts his hand on Carmelo, Carmelo can now say, "Get your hands off me and get out of there and
What?
leave."
He
Why
did.
would you now have to
I
go
just want to
get
bring
him?
in.
Okay,
But
Let's
it's
jump in
I'm
here.
sorry.
higher.
I'm sorry.
It's
All it
sharp.
All
is,
How
right,
did you
that's
do that?
enough, y'all.
that's
One
yeah.
one at a time. One at a time. One at a time, please.
Yeah,
So if his
we gonna
hands
move
are
on
on
because
him,
So,
if his
clearly,
so
hands are on
Jay,
him,
Jay, 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 we're talking about this is hindsight. This is hindsight. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. But in that moment, you don't know what happened. Everything probably happened so fast. He probably tried to get away and he was pulled back. We don't know yet until we see some type of
okay, fair
footage or
enough.
hear some
Fair
other
enough.
accounts. Okay, okay. So let's I don't know, Jay. Let's see what else comes out. But you're talking
Yeah,
about
well, there's a
he had
lot
a
that's going to
fight
come
or
out. So
flight, and when he
it's
probably
really
tried to
hard
take flight,
to
they
defend
pulled him
someone
back.
where we don't know
Have
everything
you
right
ever
now.
been jumped, sir? Because I have. And you got a
And I have
6 minute.
too. And I have too.
I don't believe you. I don't
Austin,
believe
why
you
you not gonna believe
because
me?
it's a
Can I
split
jump in here
Why
second
real
why you
quick?
may
decision
not
whether
believe
you
me?
got
Hold
to
on.
fight or run. And even when you try to run, you might get pulled back if it's more than two or three
And
on you.
that happens
Cut
too.
it
Yeah.
out.
That
bro.
happens too.
You want him to
Let
take
me ask
I'm
you this
apart.
sorry for
question. Let
screaming.
me
Let's
ask you this
calm down
question.
one
Ask
at
me.
a time,
Ask
Hold
me.
please.
on, Jay. I'm gonna ask you this, then we're gonna move
Yeah.
on. I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask you this.
Yeah.
You're saying they should have ran away, and we can argue that he technically does have a right to stay there. Austin doesn't have a right to tell him to move, or whatever the case is. Do you think after the first physical altercation, which was initiated by Austin, do you say that the response that Karmelo gave to Austin putting his hands on Karmelo, was that self-defense, yes or no? Is this a case of self-defense? Whether it was preventable, because we can all agree that to a degree it is preventable, okay? Now, to what degree it is preventable, we can argue that. But yes, this was a very preventable situation. However, is this a case of self-defense? Yes or no?
I mean, it's quite difficult because self defense. He can push him off. He can defend himself without having a weapon. And once he gets a weapon, it changes.
No,
And
Okay,
now that
so
a
it,
life is
it
taken,
changes.
it's
Okay,
even further to the wrong
it
side of
changes.
things.
Hold on. It changes from self-defense because he has a weapon.
Yes, because you can defend yourself without having to use a weapon. Yes.
not in the state of
Okay, well,
Texas.
hold
Well,
on. Okay,
and
so
that may be
if that's
true.
the case,
That may be true.
self-defense, you shouldn't be able to use a weapon, right? In self-defense,
If,
right?
if the person who is attacking you has a weapon, then you use a weapon. But if they put their hands on you and you go get a weapon, now you've gone too far.
Yeah,
Okay,
but you don't live in America.
I'm
I
asking
live
you,
in
and I'm asking
California,
for a
actually.
reason. I'm asking for a reason. So you mean to tell me if somebody, let's put this in a situation. If a man is one man and one woman,
Yeah,
and the man is assaulting a woman, does the woman have a right to use a weapon to defend herself?
it's completely different when it's a
What,
man
no,
versus
no,
a
no.
woman.
What
It's
makes it
completely
different? What
different.
makes it,
It's
sir? What
com-
makes it different?
because the
What makes
man
it?
is physically stronger than the
A
woman.
man is physically stronger than a woman. Okay. So if
Yes,
Austin, who is physically bigger than Carmelo and physically stronger
they're
than
still
Carmelo,
two high
with the
school
same, no, no,
boys.
no, 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 no,
They're
no,
still two
no,
high school
because your
boys.
argument is that she was able to use a weapon
You're
because
comparing
he is the
Carmelo to a
man. Be
woman
quiet
in a
when I'm
domestic
speaking.
situation.
No, no, no,
That's
no, no. I didn't
ridiculous.
even say that. I
Yes, you
didn't say
did.
that.
You
No, I
just
didn't say domestic. I didn't say
Can I
domestic. I
say
said a
something,
man and a
please?
woman. I will let you go next, right next. I'm saying this. The argument that you made is the fact that a male is physically stronger than a female. Therefore, it justifies a female using something to equalize the playing field. She can be able to use a weapon because the male is physically stronger than the female. So if a larger man is physically stronger than this person, is physically larger, is physically more threatening than this other person then with the same logic is able to use a weapon to defend himself.
no. It doesn't follow because
How is that not the same logic?
because
What is the difference?
these are two high school boys who
It
are
doesn't.
closer. Yet they are closer in age. They're closer in size than a man and a
They're
woman
not.
No,
in that
no.
They're not
Okay.
situation.
closer in
First off,
size.
Okay, so
age
I
ain't got
think that
nothing to do with it. Age doesn't have anything to do with it because a man and a woman could still be the same age.
but
We're
listen,
talking.
I think it's unfair, and I think it's kind of it's a little unfair to use a domestic situation to equalize or justify what's
No,
happened with
I'm
these
no,
two high
no,
school
I'm not. No, no,
boys.
no, no. I'm bringing up the fact that you said a weapon cannot be used against someone
If
who does
you
not
if
have a weapon.
you if
And I
you and
brought up an
I
example.
if you
I
and
brought
I
up an
got into
example. I'm gonna
if
get your
you
white ass kissing
listen
ass out of here.
listen
I brought up an example of somebody using a weapon against somebody who does not have a weapon, and then he agreed. But anytime I use that, they'll agree, but they just don't want to agree in this situation. And I can guarantee you, if this goes to trial, the size difference is definitely going to play a big factor in this.
You're very right, brother.
Can I just ask something or say something real quick with you?
Who is there's two people talking at the same time.
Uh,
I think Zach's or Zay
Zay.
2.0.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Zay.
let you go. Then I'm gonna let Nat go.
Appreciate you letting me up. I just I find it crazy even then just listening to do quite literally change the standard of self defense based off of the gender when the law should literally apply to both people, right? If somebody is coming at you, literally assaulting you, putting your hands on you, you should be able to defend yourself however you need to, right? I'm not sure about everybody else, but y'all respectfully, I don't y'all must not live in Texas, right? Not only is it an
I
open
do.
carry state, right? So not only is it an open carry state, but we do have a stand your ground law that literally permits excessive force no matter what in self-defense, and that applies to both firearms and knives, right? This also applies to minors as well. And when we talk about trying to compare assault here to a boy or assault there to a woman, let's be very clear about something. Here in the state of Texas, there are lunatics everywhere. Let's be very honest about that. There are lunatics everywhere. Child abduction and rape cases are at an all-time high. We got lunatics out here pew-pewing schools on a quarterly basis. So I completely understand why Carmelo would be carrying around a knife in the first place. Now, I am not excusing him taking Austin's knife because, again, it shouldn't have gotten this far. This, again, could have been completely avoided. But we are not going to skim over the fact that, again, Austin and his brother approached Carmelo, trying to forcibly remove him from a spot on a stadium that did not belong to them, trying to be authoritarian, not getting an adult, putting his hands on him, and after getting several warnings or threats, however you want to put it, he still proceeded to put his hands on him, touch his bag, manhandle him, and then the brother is shocked when he see his brother with a knife in his chest. So let's be very clear about something, right? There are so many aspects of this where this could have been avoided. Point blank, period. So many aspects where this could have been avoided. Where is security at for a public event, which is a track meet? There should have been security searching people's bags. That would have turned him away from the place in the first place, right? And let's be very clear about something. Everybody asking, oh, why was he carrying around a knife in the first place? Oh, why did he bring it? The fact that y'all really trying to push this, oh, it was premeditated, he was looking for trouble, he was looking to harm somebody, as if y'all don't realize what country we live in. Fuck, y'all voted for a fucking felon. Like, are we being serious right now?
That's
Like,
not the language though.
sorry, I apologize for my outburst. Anyways, my point that I'm trying to get here is that for some odd reason, a whole lot of people are painting this kid to be this violent person that just snapped and he ended up taking somebody's life because he had a weapon. Keep in mind, both of these kids are honor roll students. One had a 4.0, the other had a 3.7. They both had scholarships. They both had lives ahead of them, right? They clearly had something to lose, right? So when I hear somebody say, "Oh, this was premeditated," "Oh, he was looking for trouble," when I hear that, I'm thinking of somebody that might have been a high school dropout. We all know that one high school dropout in our class that we come to find out got arrested, right? Got arrested for a robbery or unaliving somebody. We all know that one high school dropout. This was not one of those cases. You look at that boy's mugshot, he looks like he regrets what he did. And for anybody to say he did it premeditatedly, he wanted to unalive somebody. If he wanted to kill somebody, unalive him, he wouldn't have asked the cop, "Is he okay?" Bottom line, he wouldn't. So to me, I do think this was self-defense. He has every right to defend himself. He shouldn't have to move or walk away just because somebody told him to. Point blank, period. They ain't no adult. And that's why I also think, like you said earlier, host, the families clearly know something. They clearly know something. The father over here talking about some, please don't politicize this. This ain't a race thing. The brother over here changing his statements to oh, we didn't know him at first, but then they changed it again. Oh, we definitely knew him in the past. And he admitted that his brother put hands on him first. So I just find this absolutely crazy that folks continue to try and push this narrative, bro. It's absolutely sad. This could have been avoided, but again, here we are. A kid has died. And folks out here talking about some, oh, the blacks at it again. Like, that's insane to me. Like, can we stop? I'm gonna take a lap after that. I'm good. I'm done.
Could I say something?
I was
Thank
gonna.
you.
Hold on, yo. We're gonna get to Nate. Nate was waiting.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with a lot of your saying from like a social aspect, talking about the injustices. People are pointing fingers too early to jump in, But I think from a legal aspect, when you talk about self-defense and stand your ground, specifically in Texas, there's a thing, it has to be equal force. When talking about these cases, you're talking about self-defense. You do have a right to stand your ground. And if there's deadly force or extreme bodily injury to yourself, you can unalive someone. You can protect yourself in that moment. I don't want to say that Carmelo is a bad person. I don't think it's premeditated. I don't think it's anything like that. But I think in his self-defense argument, it's going to be really hard to prove that hands, specifically in other cases when you're looking at them, um, in Texas in self-defense, that hands is justification to use deadly force, and
Can
that's
I ask you
really
a
hard to
question? Let me
prove.
ask you a question. For everybody who's saying, well, he didn't have a weapon, if Austin, and I want you to think about this real quick, and there's hundreds of people in here. If Austin, who is much bigger than Carmelo, if Austin went to him and put both his hands around his neck and started squeezing the life out of him, would that then justify Carmelo being able to use the knife?
Yeah, I mean, strangulation around the neck
Hold on, hold
is
on, hold on. Okay, so with you saying yes, that proves that there is circumstances where someone who does not have a weapon can do something that would justify somebody who does have a weapon using that weapon.
correct, and there are rare cases in self-defense where that is the case. You have people like former UFC fighters who have some assaults like that where they can use deadly weapon against them because their hands being like more weaponized than that. And I do agree with you, but I'm just saying it's really hard to prove, especially from my understanding of the case so far, of a push or trying to move someone is really hard to prove that there's deadly force. And I agree, you see things like this bullying and how like horrific they are, but in a straight self-defense, in the eyes of the law, it's going to be a really hard case for him to win.
Well, here's the thing. It would be difficult, and I would agree with you, except for one thing. It would be difficult to make the argument that this is a case because it wasn't that far of an extreme situation. If it wasn't for the fact that Austin put his hands on him and then Carmelo warned him not to do it again. If somebody warns you not to put your hands on them and then you continue to get in their personal space, because in order for somebody to poke you with a knife, you got to be right up on them. So you have to be right in somebody's personal space and then continue to further put your hands on that person and get more aggressive. The fact that Austin got more aggressive after being told to not put his hands on him, that would, to a lot of people, would justify Carmelo having because all you have to do is think about his state of mind. That would justify Carmelo having a reasonable fear for his safety because Austin was warned, and Austin, after being warned, got more aggressive.
hmm And I'm going to agree with you with a lot of that, except for the fact that, especially stand your ground in Texas, is state that there has to be a reasonable person would assume that there's extended bodily injury or death to the person himself. And I think it's going to be hard to prove and hard to say that putting hands on someone and trying to move them or pushing someone can escalate that situation for that need of self-defense at that deadly injury. And I'm going to agree with you on almost everything you say. And warning does play a thing of de-escalating a situation, saying, hey, stop this or this will happen. But unless you're putting that deadly force or extreme force against that Austin was putting towards him, it's not really the same thing for it to be
The
retaliated.
thing is that in cases of self-defense, it doesn't, and people keep making this argument, it has to be equivalent. It has to be equivalent. Most cases of self-defense isn't equivalent. Most cases of self-defense, the defendant takes it up a notch to neutralize the threat. In legal self-defense cases, you are legally able to take it up a notch in order to neutralize what you perceive as a threat. Okay,
Yeah.
you don't have to meet blow for blow in a case of self-defense. All you have to do is prove that you were in danger at that time. You have a reasonable, justifiable, perceived danger at that time in order for you that would justify that action. The fact that he was, first off, He put his hands on, you don't know what was said. Let's be honest. We don't know exactly what was said prior to. He could have been cursing at him. He could have called him a slur or whatever. There were words exchanged. Austin put his hands on him. Austin was warned. After Austin being warned not to put his hands on him, Austin got more aggressive and started to grab this man. There might, and what we don't know is there could have been a tussle afterwards, but regardless of that, that is reasonable for Karmelo to fear for his safety.
Mhm. And I
Afro,
Even
please
get
add
to a
in that the
level where
brother
he
was there
felt that
too.
the
and
threat would be
mhm.
neutralized.
Can you
and
add in, Afro, also that the brother was there? Because if you listen to the brother said it happened so fast, so he seems like he was being attacked by both of them.
hmm And I also think it's from the law standpoint. In Texas, it does technically say that you have to use equivalent force. While there are many cases
No,
that
it
show,
does not say
Can
that.
I
I can
can I
want me
can
to
I
show you
interject?
Texas
I'm
law
actually
correctly
reading
right
the
Don't
now.
say that.
Texas
No, it
law.
don't.
I'm
Can I
actually reading
speak?
the
Because I just
Texas
wait
law.
for
If
a
I can
minute.
interject for a moment, team. So thank you for bringing me up, Afro Elite, number one. And this is atrocity, right? This is really sad. But I wanted to speak, as a lot of what we're saying is subjective. And I just want to speak some facts. So according to my quick Google, right, in Texas, the stand your ground law, also known as the Castle Doctrine, allows individuals to use force, including deadly force, to defend themselves or others when they reasonably believe it's immediately necessary without a duty to retreat in situations where they are lawfully prevented. So they don't have a reason to retreat. Now let's go to the definition of threat really quick. A statement or an intention to inflict pain, injury, damage, or other hostile action, right? So it's just a statement to intent. That's number one for the threat. Number two for threat, a person or thing likely to cause damage or danger, right? Let's go to violence real quick and just define that just really quickly. Violence, behavior involving physical force intended to hurt, damage, or unalive, it said something different, someone or something. Number two, strength of emotion or unpleasant or destructive natural forces, right? And then it says the law, the unlawful exercise of physical force or intimidation by the exhibition of such force. So when you're looking at all of what I just described, just from, and I'm not an attorney per se, right? But I have some legal bearing. Either way, with that, just speaking on those three definitions by Google, just a quick run, says that he has some intent, some meaning, or some grounds to stand his ground, right? I don't think telling someone that when you're being threatened at the moment, and I think color does play. I don't want to bring it in, but it does, because oftentimes Black people are often looked at. You have to leave. You have to, you have to be the person to walk away. And I've gone to a predominantly white school growing up, where we were often intimidated from and being written on your book to people being invited to parties and being beat up. And there's a guy that actually got hit in the head, and he's not come from that. He's kind of off to this day from that hit in the head. So when you're saying that he should have just walked away when he probably couldn't have, things happen in 5 seconds. I do think it's self defense, number one. I do think he's got to have grounds for it. I am willing to, I think all Black people should contribute $5 to his fund, to be honest with you, because this is like, it has to stop, right? It has to stop from us, but this isn't a Black on Black conversation right now. This is where a young man who was a scholar and probably a trailblazer in his family, where he was somewhat intimidated and had to make a decision. And you can't tell someone how what they feel in that moment. You can't tell someone how to make it home in that moment. And in that moment, no one came to rescue him. So he made it home.
I
And
have a
that is all I have to
question.
say.
So my question
Wait, can I
is,
say something?
and Hold since we on. are putting theories out there, so since Austin and his brother was physically attacking Carmelo, they were committing a crime. Carmelo defended himself. Austin lost his life in the process of it. Just a thought, and I don't not too good with the law. Shouldn't Austin brother be held responsible? You're in a commission of a crime.
You were
Yeah, a lot
assaulting.
of people making that argument. Yeah.
You were assaulting somebody. You're you're in commission of a crime because sometimes
He
you're
should be
charged.
charged with his
I think
brother's
his brother's death
unaliving.
was enough punishment.
I think he should be charged. No, a lot of
He
times when
should be
that happens, you're
charged
charged with your brother, the
because
accomplice's
if
unaliving, and that's what should
correct, if we're
happen.
doing a
But these
crime
we're talking
together,
about children. These kids are
if
children.
we're doing a crime together,
One at a time.
if
One
we're
at a
doing a
time.
crime
Go
together,
ahead, Tafira.
Can I
and
say something?
someone
Stop.
One
Can I say
moment,
something real quick?
Teresa. 1 minute, Lilia. 1 minute. Tafira, finish your statement, please.
if we're doing a crime together, and someone say we're robbing a bank, and someone is unalived, we're both going to get hit with that, or you. We're
I
both
just,
going to get hit with it.
I
So
just,
Exactly.
it's a matter of, yes, the family is suffering. I understand that, but you guys were in the act of a crime. What excuses you?
I just wanted to say real quick though, you got to be careful when talking about that because robberies in that aspects often have premeditation. You're planning that. When you look at a situation like this, I don't think people really
It was
plan to go there.
premeditated when you
I don't
walked up to
think
him and you told him to move.
so. If you and your
He
friend walk
warned
up to
you.
someone,
He warned you,
if you and your
and
friend
you
walk up to
still went
someone
and
and
you
you
did it.
realize
You
your
had
friend starts to
time.
beat, can you just wait a second? If you and your friend walk up to someone and then your friend starts to beat someone up, are you part of that assault? The law would say no unless there's premeditation, whereas you're going to rob a bank or if you're going to unalive someone intentionally, and if you're going with that person with premeditation. His brother most likely, and I'm going to say that point blank, would not be charged with anything because it happened so fast, like you're saying. He didn't plan for that to happen, for him to go there. It would be really hard to prove that. So I do know what you're saying with that aspect, but it would never be
Honestly,
charged
Now, if
that
I'm
way.
his
gonna go
brother
with
was
the I'm
assaulting him,
If
I'm
his
his
gonna
brother
go
brother
with the
put
said
his
he.
hands on
theory
him, he
of
should.
that. I think that at some point, sometime in this lifetime, they knew each other. You just don't walk. People do, but with kids, everybody knows
Amen.
everybody. You
Yes.
just
I'm gonna
don't
say
walk up
this
to somebody and tell them to
before we
move.
move on because
And
that's a theory, and I do want to
I just
get to
want to
some.
say something and I can get off this panel.
I'm gonna say this: the brother admitted
I just,
on camera that he is actually the first person to say something. Now, this was before he switched the story up. The brother admitted that he said something to Karmelo first, and then his twin intervened. Now, his twin got physical, the brother didn't. So the brother was involved, and according to what the brother said, he initiated the confrontation, and then
So
his twin followed up.
mhm. You just have to be careful when talking about initiating a confrontation that verbals don't wouldn't account to that
Well,
confrontation
in this
technically.
situation, it
His
would
brother
because
taught him.
Not for when talking about
yeah,
assault because the
no,
verbal assault
and
statute
can I
would be
say
a
the
something?
lot.
confrontation led to
I
a
just want to say
physical
something for like
confrontation.
2 minutes
But
and then
go
I'll get
ahead,
off this
Teresa.
panel.
Go ahead, Teresa.
I just want to say to you guys, I want you guys to understand this whole concept. We talk about all the supposed facts, but do you guys understand that Austin had a twin? And you know what? That twin went home and talked to that dad. And that dad said, I forgive Camilo. So when you have a father that says, I forgive him, there are underlining circumstances to that forgiveness. Okay? So at the end of the day, this twin said something to his dad to say, you know what? Blah, 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 blah. It wasn't all Camilo's fault. So at the end of the day, we have to look at what the father said. I forgive him. People don't forgive easily about someone when you unalive their child. So when this man says, I forgive him, that means that twin said something to him to make him understand that it was not completely Camelo's fault. So you guys want to put y'all facts together. You want to say this and want to say that. Understand that that twin went to his father and said something to make that man say, I forgive him. We don't do that easily. We don't do that easily. And so that is what I want everybody to understand and to leave. I want to leave this conversation with that because let me tell you something. If I had a situation going on like that, and my child said, "Mom, da 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 da," da," and I said, "Okay, I forgive." We don't forgive easily. So for that man to say, "I forgive him," Camilo, that means that twin said something to him that made him understand that that was not completely his fault. Regardless of all the other circumstances, all the other shit that everybody's talking about. That man said, I forgive him. So y'all understand what he's saying is that he understands that his son had a part in that. So that's what I'm gonna leave y'all with.
Yep.
Period.
And that's
Thank
what
Thank
you.
y'all.
I've been
Thank you,
saying.
sir.
They switching their
No,
tempo
I'm with
for a
you
reason.
also. I agree.
They sure
One
are.
minute. 1 minute. Afro, so it's like one requesting, and it's 12:43 Eastern Standard Time. So I don't know. Do you want to close the one up and then we just direct everybody? We're not accepting no more, or
Well, I
you
see
still
two
want to go?
requested. You only see one?
You see two? Yeah, I
Yeah.
only see one. Hmm.
Okay. Well,
One might be private. I can't see private accounts.
we'll
And
But
let
then
we'll let
anybody accept what I'm saying? Does anybody
one
accept what I'm
minute. We
saying? Does anybody
understood.
does
We
anybody accept that?
understood, ma'am. We understood. We did. Thank you.
and we've actually made that argument early on in the live. I don't know how long you've been listening in this live, but we made that argument early on. The family changing. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. Grief does change people. There's different stages of grief, but for the family to change so dramatically at such a fast pace, like in a course of a few days, they went from this is murder and he needs to be locked up, and they were talking about throwing the key away, and they were on 10, and then next thing you know, they're talking about I forgive them, I don't want to politicize this, let's all it's a tragic
It's because
situation
Well,
for
it's
it's
everybody.
definitely
toxic.
To
grief
have
because
such a
imagine your
dramatic
child dying.
transformation in thought
You
and
want to get
You
revenge.
can't,
You're
if you
upset.
don't be your ass
ma'am.
quiet.
You can't use that word. You have to use unalive, terminate, or
Go fund
deletion.
me.
Okay.
Hmm. Make sure
But
it's verified,
for that,
That
guys.
there is a reason. And to be honest, the fact that the twin brother is not given the same story each time he gets on the interview, he's telling a different version of the event, is letting me know he's not been telling the truth. He probably told the truth to his dad, which is why his dad is changing his tune.
Hey, you all should be ashamed of yourselves trying to justify murder of a child.
yeah.
Well,
Gosh.
nobody's trying to do that, you dumbass. But okay, go ahead. Whatever your name is, Lila.
Nobody trying to justify murder.
Lila, go ahead.
Oh, it's Lilia. But I
Lily.
was
I'm not trying
Okay.
to justify murder whatsoever.
no, and I think it's both a loss on both sides because it's really sad, and I don't like how
Mm-hmm.
people are trying to say it's racial and all of these different things because a child's life was lost, and that's the only point that should matter, that we care about the person whose life is lost.
We care about both of them.
Yes, and being jail and prison for life is
Yes.
losing your life as well because when you don't have a life, you're in jail.
Okay. What is your stance on this being a case of self-defense? Even if it's tragic, would you say still it's a case of self-defense?
I I think pointing a knife is a little too far because you're surrounded by a ton of people at the track meet. Like he
Then why they didn't stop him?
went and
Okay,
got
let's let her
other
go.
people or walked away, but killing somebody that takes a toll
Don't
on you.
say that
Yeah,
word.
You can't use that word. Drop the
sorry.
phone,
Let me just get
speaker.
off this. Let me just leave.
Yeah, yeah, money. Okay, if you can't,
Thank
if
you.
you can't use
I'll
TikTok for
speak.
your
I'll
language, then you
speak
gotta go.
for her. First off, I want to address.
But you know what? I just think that
Well, hold on. First off, you guys want to say,
I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna leave.
"My God."